quite a deal last night. We had the banquet over at the Marriott, and today they had a nice luncheon over at the Fire Tap south of town. And these coaches were in rare form, but they've got the game faces on as we get ready for hockey here today. Mercyhurst and UAA in the second game. We'll be on the air an hour earlier tomorrow night, an hour earlier with a pregame show coming up at about 3:45 for a 4:07 drop of the puck between the Mercyhurst Lakers and the Alaska Nanooks. We'll take another quick timeout. You're listening to Alaska Nanook Hockey on 91.5 KSUA.
Alaska Nanook Hockey is being brought to you by the certified public accounting firm of Wash, Kelleher & Sharp. Located at 330 Barnett Street, Suite 101 in downtown Fairbanks, Wash, Kelleher & Sharp. Proud of these student athletes who combine school and sport as they prepare for the challenges of tomorrow. From the professional corporation of Kevin Walsh, Michael Kelleher, Therese Sharp, and Lee Bradish, whose son Derek wears number 8 for the Nanooks. The certified public accounting firm of Wash, Kelleher & Sharp. Hey, Nanook hockey fans, join the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club today. The Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club is a non-profit organization that supports the Alaska Nanook hockey team. From the Welcome Back Banquet, the Blue Gold Games, Skate with the Nanooks, Friday Game Day Luncheons, and end-of-season banquet, and even much, much more. To find out more, stop by the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club booth at the south end of the Carlson Center during all games. The Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club, the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club says go get 'em, Alaska Nanooks. Think hockey, think Sport King. Mr. Hockey is Roger McKinnon and Sport King. Located at 1323 Calicacket, right behind the new Safeway, just off of Airport Way. From mites and peewees to the pros, Sport King offers expert skate sharpening and all the equipment you need to get you into the game. Skates, pads, helmets, and much more from all the top names you know and you trust. When it comes to hockey, all you need to know is Sport King. Their number is 479-2820, Roger McKinnon and Sport King. Murray and Chris Hawk at Woodhawk Corporation. Woodhawk Corporation is the Alaska distributor for Seton Wood Boilers. When it comes to heating your home or business, think Seton Wood Boiler. Working in series with your current heating system, the high-efficient and ultra-clean Seton Wood Boiler will save you lots of money this winter and for winters to come. The Woodhawk Corporation number is 388-7357. Heating that doesn't cost the earth, Seton Wood Boilers from Murray and Chris Hawk at Woodhawk Corporation.
Back here at Sullivan Arena in Anchorage, getting you ready for today's game. The Michigan Wolverines and the Alaska Nanooks getting ready to join TV here in just a couple of seconds. Hi, everybody. Bruce Check, Scott Rosellis. It's Alaska Nanook Hockey. Another great season, 2009-2010, with the Alaska Nanooks getting ready to take on the Michigan Wolverines here at Sullivan Arena in Anchorage. This is game number one of the Kendall Classic Tournament here at Sullivan Arena. Scott Rosellis got the headsets on, and Michigan Wolverines, right off the bat, the Nanooks going to take on the Michigan Wolverines.
Well, what do you know? What a way to gauge your team right out of the chute. But, you know, Michigan, it's early for them, too. They got a lot of talent, firepower like they do every year, Bruce. So this is going to be very interesting to see what both teams bring to the table early.
Tell you, the biggest joke at the banquet, actually it was at the luncheon today. Red Berenson says, I love coming to Alaska. He loves Alaska. He says, I can deal with the cold in Fairbanks. And the biggest joke was, he says, when I go to Anchorage, it reminds me of Detroit. kind of got an interesting remark there from some of the Anchorage folks. And, of course, the Anchorage folks are still bitter against the Alaska fans because we won their tournament here last year. Of course, in reciprocation, they came up and won our Bryce Gold Rush UAA up to Fairbanks and won that tournament. So some things got to be taken care of here today.
Well, I tell you what, these early season tournaments are great for both programs, both schools working together. 4 non-conference games early in the season for both teams. Get to play a lot of players, get ready for their regular season conference schedules. It's awesome.
I'll tell you what, that Michigan Wolverine roster, the number of NHL picks, I think there's like a dozen players who have NHL affiliations, if I'm not mistaken, led by, well, he's a free agent, but their goaltender, Brian Hogan, the kid from Highland, Michigan, suburban Detroit, just outside of Ann Arbor. Last year, he took over for Billy Sauer. His career mark is 27-8-1. He's got a 2.07 goals against average and a save percentage of .912. He led that Michigan to another NCAA appearance last year.
Well, there's no doubt, Bruce. Michigan gets quality players year in, year out, loaded with NHL draft choices. They're a premier program. I'm excited about this Nano team, though, this year, Bruce. Certainly they lose some key players from last year. Obviously, Chad Johnson, a huge loss. I look for Scott Grenham, though. I think he's going to be a fine goaltender. It's going to be real interesting early against Michigan to see how he responds. But I think in my mind, what you're going to see a little bit different. I think you're going to see a little more offense from the Nanoks this year, as we can hope. And you're going to see some junior players from last year that are coming in that I think have been proven junior scorers, like the Andy Torontos, Nick Karimchuks, Jarrett Granberg. Those are some players to keep an eye on, and I think they're going to bring something to the table. Hopefully that'll equate to a better power play and some more offense from this team.
Well, I'll tell you what, look at that number 1 line. Dion Knelson, Mr. Everybody's just 20 years old, a senior for the Alaska Natics. He'll have 2 freshmen left wingers, Nick Yarimchuk, the kid from Sherwood Park. He played in the American Junior Hockey League from St. Albert, Alberta. And then Andy Toronto, a lot has been said about this guy, was banged up a little bit, couldn't play in the blue-gold game, but did play last weekend from Woodridge, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. He's 6'0", 213 pounds strong. How about that? 2 freshmen anchoring the line with Dion Knelson.
Well, yeah, Toronto was the leading goal scorer in the U.S. Junior Hockey League last year, so that's some very impressive credentials. And so we expect these freshmen to contribute right away. So I'm really excited about this season, but let's drop the puck.
I'll tell you what's going to be, looking at the roster, 2 guys did not make the trip down here. They are Ryan Houle and Cody Ryman. Starting lineups are being introduced here. We'll let you know that Nanook Hockey simulcasting 91.5 KSUA in college and on 91.5 KSUA College and on KFX on Fox 7 TV in Fairbanks. We'll take a 2-minute timeout, get you ready for the start of today's game. This is Alaska Nanook Hockey, back in 2 minutes.
The Pump House Restaurant. Bill and Vivian Babel from the Pump House Restaurant. They are proud to be a part of Alaska Nanook Hockey. The Pump House Restaurant is located on Chena Pump Road in Fairbanks. The Pump House Restaurant offers a full menu of favorites to include the best in seafood and steaks, a daily lunch and sandwich buffet, the world-famous Sunday brunch, and Wednesday night karaoke. A longtime favorite for locals and visitors alike, the Pump House Restaurant on Chena Pump Road in Fairbanks, where Nanook hockey fans meet after the game, the Pump House Restaurant. Can't be at the game? Check out the Nanooks online at b2livetv.com. Every home game and many road contests will be available on your computer via the B2 network. Single game or with a season ticket package also available, you'll get audio and video of Alaska Nanook hockey at b2livetv.com. That link is also available at AlaskaNanooks.com. Nanook fans worldwide, anywhere, can enjoy all the action of Alaska Nanook hockey at www.b2livetv.com. Dave Mongold is Allstate Insurance. Dave Mongold, Allstate Insurance. Good luck to Dallas Ferguson and to his Alaska Nanook hockey team. Now, last year was great, and hopefully this season even better. Dave Mongold, Allstate Insurance, is located at 230 Old Stace Highway. His phone number is 452-4260. That's 452-4260. Dave Mongold, Allstate Insurance. Home, life, auto, and more. Dave Mongold, Allstate Insurance. Dr. Carrie S. Keller is Sports Medicine Fairbanks. Dr. Keller and his staff at Sports Medicine Fairbanks spend countless hours keeping interior athletes, including the Alaska Nanook sports teams, in the game. Sports Medicine Fairbanks is located at 751 Old Ridge Highway. Their phone number, 451-6561. When it comes to sports medicine for injuries, it's Dr. Kerry S. Keller and his team of professionals at Sports Medicine Fairbanks. Good luck, Alaska Nanook hockey, from Dr. Kerry S. Keller and Sports Medicine Fairbanks.
All right, back here at Sullivan Arena, Bruce Chuck, Scott Rosellis, no national anthem prior to the game tonight. They'll do it during the second game. The host team, the UAAC Wolves, taking on the Mercyhurst Lakers. Nanook starting lineup, Kevin Penabello, left wing, centerman Derek Clausen, the right side, Brandon Knelson. Defensive pairings, we'll see Dustin Molly and Bryant Molly, the 2 kids from Anchorage, on the ice at the same time tonight. And Scott Grenham, who went 3-0-1 last year with a 1.02 goals against average and a save percentage of .958. He'll be between the pipes for your Alaska Nanoks. Michigan will go with David Wahlberg at left wing, centerman Louis Camparuso, and the right winger is Ben Winnett. The defensemen are Captain Chris Summers and Tristan Llewellyn, and the goaltender is going to be Brian Hogan, the junior from suburban Detroit, Ann Arbor, Highland, Michigan area. Michigan decked out in their maize and blue uniforms, and the Nanoks are decked out in their white predominant uniforms with blue and the gold trim. So, you know, pretty laid back at the banquet last night, the luncheon today, and, you know, obviously we're going to see some intensity here today, and you want to win the tournament, but obviously when the 2 teams meet in January and CCHA plays, certainly will be a little bit more beyond the line for that one.
Oh, absolutely. This is a great opportunity for both schools, all the teams in the tournament, just to play some players, see what some of these freshmen can do, And so certainly, as a competitor, you want to win games. It's always important to win the games, certainly, especially for your RPI rating later in the year. So, but make no mistake, these coaches are going to be evaluating personnel these first few weekends.
I'm a little disappointed the pink ice went bye-bye. The Alaska Aces played the Kalamazoo Wings, and ECHL played the last 2 nights. They had pink ice. They apparently shaved it down. We're back to the traditional white frozen water. All right, let's play some hockey here. Going to be a partisan Alaska Nano crowd here, and again, it'll be building as we get ready for the second game tonight, which will go at 7:30 local time with the UAA Seawolves and the Mercyhurst Lakers. As we're ready to drop the puck at center ice, and here we go. Clausen to take the draw now against Caparuso, and Michigan will dump it into the zone. Picked up defensively now by Dustin Malley. Along the near boards, up to the Nanook blue line, and backhands at center to Derek Clausen. Quickly to Brandon Knelson out front. Michigan takes it away and slaps it back out to center ice. A hi to all the Michigan folks checking out our broadcast. Compliments of KSUA. The Michigan Go Blue website is linked to the KSU website there because Michigan's doing no radio broadcast of this weekend's action. Hogan will play it back over now to the defenseman Chris Summers. Summers and Tristan Llewellyn back behind the goal. Number 34 will get it back again to the captain Chris Summers. He is a good one from Milan, Michigan. Property of the Phoenix team. Drafted in 06. Line change. Here comes Joe Silva quickly to Andy Toronto. Toronto skates in. Toronto with a quick shot. That's high and just off the mark. Carl Hagelin picks it up along the boards and dumps it out. Neutral ice area. Rust on the give and go. A bit too far for his teammate Chris Brown. They collide back behind the net. Picked up by Brown. Brown loses to Dion Knelson. Quickly now to Joe Silva. Silva's bulked up a little bit. Scott is his goaltender Scott Grinham. They stayed up in town and worked out with our strength conditioning coach, Mike Curtin.
Yeah, he was a man-child during his freshman year for the Nanooks, so it'll be interesting.
Rust will play it back now for Brandon Berlin. Berlin and Langlis are back at the blue line. A quick shot deflected high and out of play. So traffic out front. Rust looking for a chance. Nanook defenders Scott Enders and Joe Silva back there. And they do a good job to help out goaltender Scott Grinham. Just 5 games last year for Scott Grinham. 4 games, actually. 3-0-1. He was in the spotlight or the shadow of Chad Johnson with a heck of a camp with the New York Rangers.
Talking about taking advantage of the time you get, though, he had a couple of shutouts. His numbers were great, so great preparation for hopefully his sophomore season.
On the face-off, Nanook's pick it up. Ron Myers quickly up now. He'll get it to Chad Guillen. I'm going to watch this guy. He had a heck of a blue goal game. Number 26, Chad Guillen, one of the newcomers on the Nanook roster. Back along the boards, Michigan's Lee Maffey fails to clear it out, picks up the puck and bangs it off the near board, centering ice up to Brian Liebler. Liebler with pressure now from Aaron Jens. Number changed to number 5 this year from the kid from Minnesota. Liebler back now to Maffey. Maffey along the far boards. He'll play it right side to Robbie Zarnik. Zarnik dumps it center in front of the Nanook player bench, picked up by Dustin Malley. Now the puck ends up, I think, in the player bench area. And we'll get some new frozen rubber back out with 18:10 to go in the first quarter of play, the first period of play. TV sponsors tonight on the KFXF Fox 7 broadcast include the Auto Service Company, Toyota, and by Denali State Bank. 18:10 to go, opening stanza. No score. Face-off Michigan. They win it. Center ice. Here's Langlis with it. Langlis along the near boards and back behind the cage. Picked up now by another newcomer, Cor Odegaard, number 13. He's not superstitious. We're number 13. Quickly up now to Jared Granberg. Granberg comes in. He pulls a trigger. Blocked defensively by Michigan's number 6, Brandon Berlin. Langlis on the left wing gets it up to Lindsey Sparks, who wears 39. He's one of the freshmen on that Michigan roster. Nanooks are going to try to keep it alive, but Langlis picks it up in the corner left side of the goaltender, Hogan. Dumping it out center. Michigan's Kevin Lynch, their 4th lineout now with Lynch, Sparks, and Luke Glendenning. Nanooks again will bump it all the way back and skating up now. Is number 33, Dustin Sattler. Quick shot on goal, and Hogan's going to cover up, hold on, and force a face-off. I'll bet Mr. Hogan's listening to the broadcast. Brian's dad is Jeff. He came up to Alaska last year, bought a Nanook jersey. So when we played Michigan State and Michigan had an off week, he rooted for the Nanooks.
All right.
Had that big Nanook jersey on, had a lot of fun.
That's the spirit.
Clausen on the draw for the Nanooks against Louis Caparuso. Caparuso last year had a heck of a year, property of Ottawa. He's got 70 points in 74 career games, almost a point a contest. Here's Petavello back for Clausen. His shot's deflected high and back off the glass. Caparuso is going to pick it back up. He'll play it back to the far side now for Chris Summers. Summers back for Tristan Llewellyn. Llewellyn bangs it up now for Mark Wahlberg. Quickly center. The missing pass to Caparuso is picked up now by Dustin. Make that Bryant Malley. Bryant's got a number changed to 23 this year. Wahlberg back at the Michigan blue stripe, skates at center, works at blue line to blue line. Back now for Ben Winnett. His shot's deflected high and out of play and stops the clock with 16:46 to go in a scoreless first period of play. Big volleyball game tomorrow night. The Alaskan women will take on the UAA women, 7 o'clock at the Patty Center.
A big football game tonight here in Anchorage.
North Pole Patriots taking on the Bartlett Golden Bears. I'm going to pack up my luggage real quick and
what a good story that is so far.
Sprint across the parking lot 150 yards and do the game on the AM band of things. Brown lost it now to Sova. Sova along the boards. Michigan trying to keep it alive. Steve Camper. Boy, Camper is listed as the third defenseman. Actually, the third set of defensemen in there, so I don't know if it's just the way it's listed. Oh, pressure out front there. Grenham holds his ground. Michigan failed to get a shot on goal. Wolverines, Matt Rust with the puck. He'll play it back for Carl Hagelin. Hagelin right point position. Camper pulls the trigger right and go. Grenham makes a save but can't freeze it. It's controlled now again by Chris Brown. Brown back to Rust to Hagelin. Hagelin pressure now. Keeping alive back to Rust. Michigan now working tough along the goal line. It's Rust into the corner again for Carl Hagelin. Hagelin top of the circle, back left point now for Maffey. Maffey shovels it wide, intercepted by the Natick defenseman, and cleared out by Scott Enders, a kid from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We get an icing call whistle down against the Alaskan Nanooks.
First pressure of any sort that the Wolverines put on. The Nanooks have been doing a pretty good job of controlling the play, putting it in the Michigan zone, but Michigan did some good cycling there and created a little bit of a scoring opportunity in front of Grenham.
Both these teams met back in March at the CCHA semifinals. Michigan beat the Alaskan Nanooks 3-1 back in March. Face off to the side of Grenham. Puck picked up and cleared out nicely by Joe Sova. Quickly centers now for Dion Knelson. Poke check loose, but regained by the Nanooks. Here comes Andy Toronto. Toronto skates in. Toronto back at the right point. Poke checked away Michigan, and back up the ice comes Brian Liebler. Liebler takes it center to the blue stripe, intercepted nicely as Toronto give and go now to Justin Filson. Filson with a quick wrister from outside the blue line, and Hogan got a piece of that. Along the boards and up now to Robbie Zarnik. Zarnik will clear the Michigan zone, gets it up to Langlis. Langlis now backhands it high into the far corner, where it's picked up nicely by Bryant Molly. Molly now ties up the Michigan player who falls on top of the puck, and we're going to stoppage a play and a whistle with 15:16 to go in the first period of play. We're hoping to have the commissioner of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, Bruce McLeod, on during our first or second intermission.
Lots of changes upcoming next year with Omaha moving over.
And he did say it was not an easy decision. It was not a slam dunk on the Bemidji State, and he said it was certainly, you put 10 athletic directors and all the bosses in the same room, and it's usually a 5-5 tie, and I guess the commissioner's got to settle the difference. So up the ice, they'll bring it. Here comes Filson, trying to feed it for Ron Myers. We'll get an offsides called, whistle down against the Alaskan Nanooks. Scott, we'll get a chance, hopefully, to talk about some of the newcomers, too. The Nick Yarimchuks and Andy Torontos. And I'll tell you about that Chad Guillen, the kid from Kelowna, BC, impressed with his play. He's 6'0", 187 on the line with Justin Filson and Ron Myers. They're out there right now. Face off in front of the Michigan bench. And on the draw, Chris Summers will pick it back up. Over to Tristan Llewellyn. Llewellyn for Michigan plays it up now to Sparks, and they'll clear the zone. Center ice knocked down by Scott Enders. Enders going to clear it back in. Myers. Enders intercepts. Enders now pinches between the circles, but outnumbered as Michigan will regain control and dump it out to center ice before we get a shot on goal. Hogan back for Tristan Llewellyn. Michigan coach Red Berenson, nothing but kind comments. I mean, it goes back to Guy Godowski, Tavis McMillan, and now Dallas Ferguson. He had nothing but great comments, and he likes the style of play that the Nanooks are playing. Fourth place finish, not too bad.
He's always been pretty complimentary of the Alaska program.
He loves the program for the Nanooks. Along the boards, Michigan still controls it. They'll take it back to the corner now for Lynch. That fourth line out with Sparks, Lynch, and Glendenning. Taken away nicely by Jared Granberg. Up now to Dustin Sather. Sather from the red line, bumps it in, and back behind the goal. They'll chase it down. Steve Camper in a collision now with Carlo Fanucci. Kept in by Dustin Molly. Dustin Molly's not going to win the scoring title, but the guy that plays defense for the Nanooks will certainly make his presence known not only every game, but every shift. He's going to be a very important part of that Nanook defensive core, the only senior blue liner for the Nanooks this season. Louis Caparuso takes it blue line to center, works into the Nanook zone, puts on the brakes, back at the right point position. Michigan a bit of a line change, right out front. Grenham holds his ground. He was screened down the plate. Ben Winnett. Back to Caparuso, back for Winnett. Ben Winnett, property of Toronto NHL. Here's Mark Wahlberg, again for Wahlberg back out to Langlis. Langlis back at the point.
Nice.
Had it blocked nicely by Fanucci. And then Langlis can't keep it onside. Good
nice
job.
block by Fanucci.
Carlo Fanucci. And there's a takeaway now as Brandon Knelson comes up the ice. Brandon now taken wide right. He'll still control the puck, looking for help. Takes a bump defensively by Brandon Berlin. And now Michigan fails to clear it out. Kept in by Kevin Petabello. 7 minutes down in the first period of play. A shot deflected wide by off the stick of Derek Clausen. Michigan works with it. Berlin quickly up the ice. He's property of New Jersey. Over to Chad Langlis. Line change Michigan. They'll dump and change, and the puck's deflected into the crowd. Left side of goaltender Scott Grenham. Told that Grenham bulked up about 20 pounds during the offseason. He still looks like he could get a little bit more weight, but I tell you what, he's pretty athletic there, and I think he's got all the makings to be a pretty darn good goalkeeper.
I agree, Bruce. Really, his style is very similar to Chad Johnson. Similar size, similar calmness in the way he plays, and doesn't give up a lot of rebounds. Not tested too much early. Really, both teams doing a pretty good job of limiting the offensive chances. So it's been a defensive game thus far, but really a pretty good, solid game. Not surprisingly, not real sloppy.
Well, like I say, both these teams haven't had a whole lot of play. Michigan had a couple of exhibition games last weekend. They played the U.S. National Team Developmental Squad and had another game on Sunday, Canadian School. And, of course, we played the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, and it was only 3-1 going into the third period, but a very strong effort by the Nanooks as they scored 3 unanswered goals and winning it by a score of 6-1. So somebody said, hey, we're averaging 6 goals a game right now for a team that averaged 1.9 goals last year. So I guess it's something to build on.
Well, that's right. And certainly it was a defensive-oriented team last year, and really successful season considering they didn't score a lot of goals. So hopefully they can continue that defensive play, but maybe be a little better offensively.
Petabello up to Clausen. Rust will collide him to the boards in front of the Nanook bench. Chris Brown's down there too for Michigan. Loose at center. Summers gets it back to Tristan Llewellyn. He'll dump it in. And this will be an icing call whistled down against the Michigan Wolverines. Red Berenson, 26th season for the Michigan Wolverines. Played at Michigan, coached the St. Louis Blues, and told a story about he was playing for St. Louis, was coming up to Alaska to run a hockey school, and a couple of guys were canoeing on the Yukon River, ran out of food, and had a broken oar that he fed the guys, and turned out to be one of the guys was coming up to play hockey for Alaska Fairbanks.
Wow.
And they said they basically hitchhiked from Chicago to Whitehorse, and they were going to canoe the rest of the way up to Fairbanks. Red Berenson telling us that one. An icing call whistled out against the Michigan team once again with 12:23 to go.
Wonder what year that had been.
It had to be back, well, he was coaching, I think, in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, with the St. Louis Blues. Of course, the big story with Red Berenson was he played at Michigan, played his last college hockey game, and then rode on a train, I think, to Toronto when he played his first pro hockey game.
I've heard of recruits coming by plane, car, and bus, but never by canoe.
Canoe. Here's a chance now for the Nanooks. Back behind the goal, working with it, was Nick Yaremchuk as he's out there with Dion Knelson and Andy Toronto. Tristan Llewellyn's going to intercept and bring it up to Carl Hagelin. Hagelin gives it to Rust. Here comes Hagelin out front. Quick shot. And Grenham got a piece of that one. Deflects it high and into the corner. Boy, great positional hockey by the goaltender there by number 35, Scott Grenham. He got a piece of that one. Didn't get much to shoot at.
He dropped to his knees, but the advantage of being a big, tall goaltender, you don't give up that much up top. And so that hit his shoulder, and he didn't have a whole lot of a target to shoot at. So good play by Grenham.
Listed at 6'2" and 197 pounds strong from Addison, Ontario. Played for Oakville in the Ontario Provincial Junior Hockey League. And like I say, he learned a lot last year because he was able to watch one of the best, Chad Johnson, one of the best ever to don not only a Nanook hockey uniform, but a CCHA jersey there. Was the CCHA Player of the Year. Here comes Myers, going to shoot it back in. Steve Camper gets to it first, takes a bump from Chad Guillen. Play squirts out, and here comes Liebler. Liebler taken into the Nanook zone. Back now, they'll dump it out front, but on the stick of Scott Enders. Enders skates away from Robbie Zarnik. Here comes Scott Enders. Nanooks make a line change. Boy, got a penalty coming up as Enders was upended, and the Nanooks are going the first power play opportunity. So the first power play chance is coming up for the Alaska Nanooks. Michigan took a whole lot of penalties. They were fourth. They were second in the CCHA and 11th in the NCAA last year, averaging almost 19 points in penalties per contest. By contrast, the Nanooks were 12th in the nation, just getting 11.3 penalties a contest.
Yeah, the Nanoks did not take many penalties last year, that's for sure. Well, their first power play officially of the season, Bruce,
So Liebler gets a tripping infraction at 8:34 as the Nanoks are going the power play right now, and they'll go to the line of Kevin Pettivello, Jarrett Granberg, who won the face-off. They fire it wide. Also, there's Brandon Knausen, Scott Enders, and Cor Odegaard. Michigan's defensive core will clear it up the ice. Chasing down is Glenn Denning. Glenn Denning takes it away. Glenn Denning will work it back toward Winnett, and then Cor Odegaard picks it back up for the Nanook hockey team in that corner. Look out, takeaway out front, and Grenham's got to come up with one save and then two saves. Michigan with a short-handed chance, and boy, Nanooks are lucky the Wolverines didn't get the first goal of the hockey game.
Ill advised pass around the goal there.
Yeah, you don't do it dangerous in front of your goal. Here's a chance now to regroup now as Joe Silva paired up.
Good job by Grenham there. Has to be a good confidence builder right there.
With Aaron Jens. And Silva will take it center and drill it from corner to corner. Tristan Llewellyn gets to it first. Llewellyn finds an opening, lifts it high and down the ice. Back over the goal and behind the net. Nanooks have a power play of 60 seconds to work with right now. So the first power play chance. Here comes Jens, quickly centers to Dustin Sather. Sather works into the Michigan zone, puts on the brakes, and back behind the goal, will dish it. Taken away. Rust will zip it up the ice, and back to track it down is Aaron Jens. Jens now with Andy Toronto, and quickly they'll bring it up the ice. Here comes Jens, a floater. Hogan gloves that one, playing it back now to Maffey, number 13. Kept in Silva, left point position, side far face-off circle. Andy Toronto bounces out front. Camparuso tries to clear it. Loose in the slot area, picked up Michigan and cleared by Mark Wahlberg. Wahlberg will skate at center. Poke check nicely there by Jens. Reclaim though by Camparuso. Back to Maffey. Power play chance, Scott. Just 15 seconds now for the Nanooks. As Michigan dumps it, and one more chance now for the Alaska team. 9:35 to go. Scoreless first period of play. Here's Silva to Kevin Pettivello. Pettivello in a battle with A.J. Trias. Trias shoots it up. Penalty's over, so not a whole lot happening there. They're not, well, the unofficial shots are 5-1 now for Michigan about midway through this first period of play. Here's Brandon Knausen battling Trias as the Wolverines take to the body, and Liebler dumps it out on the right side center to Maffey. Maffey works in the zone. They keep it on side. Liebler's out front, but a nice takeaway by Dustin Molly in that centering pass that didn't quite center. Trias with it again. Takes a nice shot there by Dustin Molly. Kept alive by Robbie Zarnik. Zarnik gets trying to work it for his teammate, but Kevin Pettivello kicked it loose. Liebler keeps it in the zone. Liebler back for Zarnik. Zarnik's out of the far face-off circle, back now for Liebler out front. Backhand shot goes wide of Grenham. Might have got a piece of that one in the near corner. So Michigan now dominating the shots in a scoreless hockey game. Jarrett Granberg will dump it out to neutral ice area. Langless give and go now for Berlin. Berlin skates in. Top of the near circle, back toward the point, and then nicely batted away by Dustin Molly. Line change now for the Alaskan Nanooks. We've got 8:15 to go. First period of play. Still no score. The Alaskan Nanooks.
Really
and
not
the Michigan
too many quality
Wolverines.
chances thus far.
Yep, pretty straightforward hockey here. As Jens has got it. Jens quickly up now for Filzen. Tristan Llewellyn intercepts, shoots it back in, but on the stick of Dustin Molly. Molly now to Ron Myers. Myers skates in. Myers now in the corner. Myers dumps it out front through the crease area. Hogan holds his ground. Myers takes it to the other side. Back now for Scott Enders. Bouncing puck goes to the side of the cage. Still loose. The Nanooks with their best sustained pressure right now as they keep it alive. And now it's picked up and going to be cleared out by the Wolverines as Kevin Lynch. Quick shot on goal. Save made Grenham, picked up now by Scott Enders. We have 7:35 to go. Opening stance and no score in this one. Here's Ron Myers out front. Wolverines take it away, and Carl Hagelin on the left wing. Hagelin motors in, gets it back now. Quick shot, nice pad save made, another save made. Grenham, 2 chances and 2 stops. Opportunity, Chris Brown, and nice denials there by Mr. Grenham. Dion Knausen shoots it in, and we get an icing call whistle down against the Alaska Nanooks. Scott with 7:10 to go. So Michigan dominating numbers right now, and official shots are saying 7-1, but still a scoreless game.
I tell you, Ronnie Myers is sure impressed with his speed. He's had some great quickness that he's displaying tonight.
Face-off will come back to the side of goaltender Scott Grenham. We have 7:10 to go in the opening period of play here, and no score. The Michigan Wolverines and Alaska Natics. Camparuso in the draw against Dion Knelson. Joe Sova's got it. Sova through the crease area. Mark Wahlberg. Camper with an opportunity. Grenham watches that one go just wide. And back to the corner. It's picked up by Nick Yaremchuk. Yaremchuk fails to clear it out. Ben Winnett kept it in. And now Joe Sova tracking it down along the near boards now for Andy Toronto. Camparuso gets to it. Camparuso worked it back toward the point, but Toronto clears the zone for Alaska. Quickly up now for Yaremchuk. Yaremchuk double team. Camper intercepted by Dion Knelson. Out front, quick shot goes just wide of Hogan. Opportunity out front for the Nanooks. They have to create those opportunities. Want to crash the net, Scott, a little bit more to get some better scoring chances.
Yeah, that was tight there, close.
Wahlberg on the give and go for Louis Camparuso. Camparuso out front. What a nice block there by Bryant Motley. Quickly plays it out of Brandon Knelson, getting it to brother Dion. The kids from Three Hills, Alberta, able to dump it down the ice. And Steve Camper again will clear it up to center ice area. 6 minutes to go. First period of play. No score in this one. Zarnik's got it. Property of the LA Kings. They'll work it back now. Behind the goal. And now to the side of the goal. Zarnik will keep it alive. Zarnik looking for maybe a wraparound chance. Takes it side of the far face-off circle and back now to the near side. Liebler tripped up. No penalty call there. May got away with one there.
I thought he fell on his own.
Here comes Jens. I thought the stick was down there. Here comes Jens with an opportunity. Squirts right wide of goaltender Hogan. Into the near side. We have 5:30 to go. Scoreless first period of play. Sullivan Arena, the first game of the Kendall Classic. UAA Mercyhurst. In game number 2, we'll be on the air an hour earlier tomorrow, both radio and television for you, and internet. With a pregame show about 3:45. Here comes Trias. Trias now working on Jens. Clears it to himself into the far corner. Help now from Luke Glendenning, and then the puck is picked up by Aaron Jens behind the Nano cage. We have 5 minutes to go, first period. Up the ice, they'll work with it. Shot in by Dustin Sather. Line change now, Nanox, as Clausen and Jens go to the bench, and Joe Sova and Jared Granberg jump off the bench. Glendenning lost it to Sova. Quick shot on goal. Save made by Hogan. Along the near boards now for Sparks. He'll lead at center. Granberg takes a double shot of some Wolverine players. And the puck is picked up by Lynch. Lynch now for Glendenning. Quick shot. Grenham steers that one to the corner. Back now for Chris Summers. Summers now wanting to work it out front. Ender is back behind the net. 4:30 to go. First period of play. Squirts all the way back to the Michigan blue line. Will not be far enough for an icing call. We mentioned they had pink ice here the last couple of nights. And former Michigan Wolverine Jason Risner, playing for the Aces, broke his hand last night. Didn't play night number 1, played last night and broke his hand, they were told us. So that could not be good news for the Michigan contingent that probably came over to watch him play after the banquet last night. Hagelin.
To visit with Curtis Frazier, former Nanook, who's playing with the Aces.
Cool. Rust back behind the Nanook net now with 3:50 to go. Rust getting it back over now to Brown. Brown back behind the net. They try to work it to the left side of goaltender Grenham. Nanook's going to help out there as Dustin Molly squirts out front. And now let's see. We got the net apparently knocked off the mooring. And let's see where that face-off is going to take place here. Looks like the side of goaltender Scott Grenham. Nanook hockey tonight on the radio, being brought to you by our fine underwriters who include Denelli Industrial Supply, home to Milwaukee Electric Tools, by the law firm of Zimmerman and Wallace, by Sport King, by Lou's TV and Satellite Service, by Usabelli Cole, Sports Medicine Fairbanks, by Murray and Chris Hawk, Woodhawk Corporation, home of Seton Wood Boilers, by the Pump House Restaurant, the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club, by Paul and Lucy McCarthy at Alaska Sports Photography, by Alaska Nanook supporter Al Sparks, the certified public accounting firm of Wash, Kelleher and Sharp, by Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club member Dan Graham from Monroe, Iowa, by Dave Mongo, Allstate Insurance, and by Alaska Nanook poster Jim Samuelson. Stoppage of play with 3:42 to go. I guess they're giving us the old TV timeouts here, but we're keeping it right here at the Arena. This first game of the Kendo Classic. 19th year for this tournament in Anchorage. Started as a Johnson event, and now Kendall's got it. Coach said he had a Land Rover, got a chance to drive one of the Land Rovers, one of the vehicles they give him. All right, face-off will be side of goaltender Scott Grenham with 3:42 to go. Michigan wins the draw. Wahlberg with a shot. Grenham's able to stop it. Grenham stops it again and able to freeze the puck there. Boy, I tell you what, he looks as cool, calm, and collect between the pipes as Chad Johnson was last year as a senior. He does not panic there when he's between the pipes.
Well, you know, Michigan's out shooting the Nanoks 10-3. There hasn't really been a lot of quality scoring chances, but totally agree, Bruce. He looks calm. He looks collected down there, and so it's a good sign early.
Nothing seeming to phase him as Caparuso will take the draw now against Justin Filson, picked up by Dustin Molly. The Anchorage, Alaska native will lift it up now for Ron Myers. Myers on the right wing, leads it toward the goal into the corner. Hogan got a piece of that, picked up by Steve Camper, and out of Maffei 13. Maffei back to Caparuso. Caparuso and Wahlberg back to Caparuso. Leads it too far for Ben Winnett. Tied up nicely by Molly. Now Caparuso picks it up. He's delivered wide there by Bryant Molly. Couldn't get the shot on goal. So Bryant Molly able to work it up now to Chad Guillen. Guillen gets it back to Filson. Filson now lifting it into the corner. Hangs it high off the plexiglass as the Nanoks will go for a line change now with 2:55 to go in this first period of play. 10-3 shot advantage for Michigan. Here's Camper back down the ice. And it'll be a Michigan icing call. We'll stop the clock with 2:47 to go. TV sponsors today include Dr. Mark Wade and Interior Alaska Orthopedic Sports Medicine, Gold Star Liquor, True North Federal Credit Union, Rod Saw Shop, and your 4 Fairbanks area McDonald's restaurants. With a 14 games Alaska Nanoks schedule, some CCHA games.
Potentially 15.
So you just keep adding them as we talk.
Daily.
You're going to add games to the Nanoks schedule that Coach Ferguson doesn't even know about. Opportunity out front, backhand shot blocked there is an opportunity for Dion Kendall. Picked up, and Bryant Molly back to pick it up. Bryant Molly getting it to Core Odegaard. Odegaard with a nifty move, left wings it up now for Nick Yaremchuk, pair of freshmen. Yaremchuk will shoot it into the corner. They'll chase down. Now Toronto in a battle with Langless. Toronto wins that one. Toronto now trying to work it for Yaremchuk. He was tripped up back behind the goal. And now they'll dump it out center ice. Picked up by Bryant Molly. We're down to 2:10 to go in the opening period of play. Here's a chance for Dion Kendall. Dion Kendall is tripped up. Another penalty coming up to Michigan. Second power play chance now will commence for the Alaska team. So Dion Kendall will get his second chance to work with the Alaska Nanook power play opportunity. And let's see. Penalty is going to be whistled down at 17:59 of the opening period. And the guy heading to the penalty box for Michigan is Chad Langless. So first Liebler, now Langless in the box for Michigan at 17:59. 2 minutes on the board. Nanoks go with a power play unit of Derek Clausen, Brendan Kiddelson, Kevin Petavello, Scott Enders, and Joe Sova. Face off to the side of the Michigan goalkeeper. Here's Sova, left point. He'll put a shot toward the goal. Blocked out. Opportunity on the doorstep was Kevin Petavello looking to follow up a shot by Clausen. Cleared out center ice. Here's Sova to Knelson. Tristan Llewellyn on the penalty kill. Along the boards, but not out. Kept in by Enders. Side circle. Back point now for Joe Sova. His shot's deflected wide of the Michigan cage. Into the corner where Petavello battling Tristan Llewellyn. Out front now. They scored it, and Hogan's going to pounce on that puck and hold on and force a face-off.
Much better passing on this second power play by the Nanoks, Bruce. They're really keeping the puck down into the Michigan zone and working the puck nicely and getting some shots on goal.
The official calls tripping on Langless at 17:59, so 2 trips on Michigan. Second power play chance for just about the remainder of the period. There's 1:32 on the clock and 1:31 in the penalty. Face-off side of the goaltender Hogan. Rust on the draw against Dion Knelson. Michigan wins it. Berlin rims it along the boards, and it's able to squirt down the ice. Jens back with Sova. 1:20 to go. Opening period play. Here's Sova. He'll play it to Jens. Jens now works at center. Jens will drill it from the far board, or from the near side back behind the goal. And now the Nanoks trying to kick it loose, but the referee is going to blow the play dead with 69 seconds to go in the opening period of play. Like I say, we are hoping to have the commissioner of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, Bruce McLeod, on during our first intermission. Cam Keith playing hockey overseas this year, and we understand that Corbin Schmidt not playing for the Aces this year, so the number of Nanoks playing for that Alaska Aces team not quite up there this year. Another penalty coming up this time. It's going to go against the Alaska Nanooks. So as soon as we'll go back and touch it, our power play comes to an end. So the Nanooks will take a penalty at the 18:59 mark, so exactly a minute after Langless goes in the box. We're going to see Dion Knelson take a 2-minute minor. So 4-4 hockey for the rest of the period now. As we'll go 4-4 in the big Olympic ice. This is the Olympic ice here, measuring 200 by 100 here at Sullivan Arena.
Well, Michigan's eventually going to get their first power play, barring any other penalties. So we'll be 4-4 for the next minute.
Almost the rest of the period, almost. Not quite. On the draw, here's Caparuso. Along the boards, back to Camper. Camper right point position. Camper back now for Berlin. Berlin with a quick shot. Steered wide there by goaltender Grenham with traffic out front. It's a hooking call on Dion Knelson. So hooking on Dion. We approach a half minute to go now. Here comes Myers. Myers skates in offsides, whistle down on the Alaska Nanooks. The Nanooks are back in the Classic for a second straight year, and the first time since 85-86. And of course, we won this tournament last year. And some of the Seawolf fans not too happy about that one. Of course, they came up to Fairbanks last year and won the Bryce Gold Rush. We'll see if we can see if we can change that for you. Cleared back in by the Nanooks. We approach a half minute to go in the first period of play. Opportunity now for the Michigan Wolverines as they clear it up to center for Carl Hagelin. Hagelin comes in with a rust. The centering pass is steered wide nicely by Bryant Molly. Hagelin's got it. Hagelin side of the far face-off circle. Hagelin now back to the point. They'll get it for Chris Summers. Summers quick shot steered wide by the goaltender Grenham, comes back to the far boards and bumped out nicely by Kevin Pettivello. Down to 10 seconds to go in the period. Hagelin skates in. Taken to the boards by Dustin Molly. Here's Maffey. Back for Hagelin. Back to Maffey. Quick shot steered wide by Grenham. And that's the end of the period as Michigan is now just running their first power play. We'll have 59 seconds of power play, Scott, in which to work when we start the second period of play.
Well, not a bad first period. Certainly shots on the Michigan side, but again, not a lot of quality chances. Certainly they got some pucks on net, but a lot of them from the perimeter and so forth. So really a pretty good first period of hockey for both teams.
Unofficial numbers tell us Michigan with 12 shots and go, Alaska with 3 and just 3 minors. Liebler took a tripping call at 8:34, Langless a trip at 17:59, and then Dion Knelson hooking call at 18:59. Michigan on the power play for 59 seconds. We will take a 2-minute timeout. Bring it back to the Sully after we take a timeout with no score in this one. The Michigan Wolverines and the Alaska Nanooks. You're listening to Alaska Nanook Hockey on 91.5 KSUA and on KFXF Fox 7 TV.
USAV Coal is proud to support Alaska Nanook Hockey. In business for almost 70 years, USAV Coal produces approximately 1.5 million tons of coal annually. The only operational coal mine in Alaska, supplies 6 power plants in the state and exports to South America and other Pacific Rim destinations. USAV Coal sponsors many community organizations and events through the USAV Foundation, funding numerous scholarships and providing grants to more than 80 organizations every year. Good luck, Alaska Nanook Hockey from USAV Coal. He shoots, he scores. Join the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club today. The Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club is a non-profit organization that supports the Alaska Nanook hockey team. From the Welcome Back Banquet, the Blue Gold Games, Skate with Nanooks, Friday Game Day Luncheons, end-of-season banquet, and much, much more. To find out more, stop by the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club booth at the south end of the Carlson Center during all home contests. The Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club, the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club. Luz TV and Satellite Service is home to Dish and Direct TV. Luz TV and Satellite Service, offering the latest technology and satellite systems, sports packages to include the NHL and the NFL, and the most up-to-date HD, high-definition programming available in the state of Alaska. And HughesNet Internet service, too. Luz TV and Satellite Service, where service is their motto. Their phone number is 488-DISH. Lou and Adeline Gaudreau at Luz TV and Satellite Service in North Pole, Alaska. Al Sparks. Alaska Nanook Hockey supporter Al Sparks is proud to help support today's broadcast of Alaska Nanook Hockey. When it comes to Nanook Hockey, not too many fans are more blue and gold than this guy. Al has traveled with the team, been to just about every arena, and will be the first one in line to get tickets when the Alaska team earns a spot at the NCAA National Tournament. Al Sparks wishing the best to the players, the coaches, the fans, and the support staff who are connected to Alaska Nanococky. Al Sparks.
And we're back at Sullivan Arena in between periods 1 and 2. No score between the Michigan Wolverines and the Alaska Natics. Bruce Check, Scott Rosellis on the simulcast today, 91.5 KSUA, KFXF, Fox 7 TV, and our Michigan audience getting the link through KSUA through the MichiganGoBlue.com website too. No score. Shots and go in that first period were 12-3 advantage for Michigan. Just 3 minors called in that first period of play. Well, they're calling it one of the premier early season tournaments, the Kendall Hockey Classic, Alaska Anchorage, the Alaska Nanoks, the Mercyhurst Lakers, and the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan's trying to win their second Classic tournament title in one of the CCHA powerhouses, Michigan. The Wolverines are making their first trip to Anchorage since 2000. They look to challenge for both the league title and an NCAA berth in 2009-2010 after making their 19th consecutive trip to the NCAAs last year. That's a college record. Of course, with Michigan's Red Berenson, I think everything's a college record. Red Berenson in his 26th season will lead 7 of his top 10 scores from last year, including 68.5% of the Wolverines' point production into this season. Among the leaders for the Wolverines, a Hobie Baker finalist and an American College Hockey Association All-West America team selection, junior Louis Caparuso. Last year, 24 goals, 25 assists for 49 points, and junior Carl Hagelin, who scored 31 points last year. Chris Summers is the team captain. He heads up the defense, and as we mentioned, Brian Hogan is just a junior in goal. He was third in the country in winning percentage with .800, a record of 24-6 come last season. For the Alaska Nanococky team, we told you this is the first, last year we came back to the tournament for the first time since 85-86, and we won the darn thing last year. Second-year coach Dallas Ferguson calling the shots this year. Last year, the Nanoks had their first winning season since 2004-2005, and the program tying 4th place finish in the CCHA, earning him the league's Coach of Year award. The Nanoks will hit the ice this season with senior Dion Knelson taking the reins after leading the UAF team in points for a second consecutive year. Last year, 10 goals, 12 assists, and 22 points. Juniors Kevin Penavello and Brandon Knelson post high figures after chipping in 18 and 14 points respectively. Joe Sullivan, Aaron Jens leading the defense along with number 25, Dustin Molly, the kid from Anchorage. And of course, all of the stuff is going to fall on the goaltender. And we're talking about Chad Johnson last year and Scott Grenham coming into play goal this year for the Alaska Nanoks. No score in this one. We are going to take another 2-minute timeout. So let's take a 2-minute timeout in between periods 1 and 2 from Sullivan Arena in Anchorage. Michigan nothing, Alaska nothing. This is Alaska Nanococky on 91.5 KSUA and on KFXF Fox 7 TV.
Dan Graham from Monroe, Iowa is back for another great season of Alaska Nanococky. Dan never misses a game via KSUA with the exception of the games at Nebraska Omaha. That's because Dan Graham, Nanook superfan, has one of the best seats in the house as he cheers on for Alaska inside at the Quest Center. From the blue gold game to the final game in the playoffs, Dan Graham, Nanococky fan. Have a great season, Dallas Ferguson. Have a great season, Alaska Nanooks. From Dan Graham, Nanook superfan in Monroe, Iowa. Paul McCarthy is Alaska Sports Photography. His website is alaskasportsphoto.com, alaskasportsphoto.com. Remember, a second of action in image forever. Have a great season from Paul and Lucy McCarthy at Alaska Sports Photography. Jim Samuelson says, go Nanooks. Jim's a longtime Alaska Nanook supporter. Good luck to these student athletes who give it all both on the ice and in the classroom. Good luck again to Coach Dallas Ferguson and the Nanooks from Jim Samuelson, Alaska Nanook supporter. Denali Industrial Supply, home of Milwaukee Electric Power Tools, is proud to be associated with Alaska Nanococky. Gary Swaffer and his crew never miss a game. Denali Industrial Supply carries a full line of Milwaukee Electric Power Tools. Their phone number is 452-4524. Good luck to head coach Dallas Ferguson and his team of student athletes who excel on the ice and in the classroom. Denali Industrial Supply, home to Milwaukee Electric Power Tools at 2800 South Cushman Street in Fairbanks. The law firm of Zimmerman and Wallace. They're proud to be a part of the Fairbanks hockey community and proud to support the Alaska Nanooks. Chris Zimmerman and Foster Wallace, along with Larry Rieger, Amy Tallarico, and Connie Ringstead. They are the law firm of Zimmerman and Wallace. Located at 711 Gaffney, suite number 202. Their phone number is 452-2211. Their business is law. Their focus is people. Their name is Zimmerman and Wallace, but they are so much more. The full-service law firm of Zimmerman and Wallace.
And we're back here at Sullivan Arena in between periods 1 and 2, where the Alaska Nanooks and the Michigan Wolverines are playing to a scoreless first period tie. Shots and go, 12-3 Michigan. 2 minor penalties whistled on against the Wolverines and 1 for the Alaska Nanooks. After tonight, we're on the air tomorrow, an hour earlier, 3:45 pregame, 4:07 drop the puck. The second game of the tournament for the Alaska Nanooks as they'll take on the Mercyhurst Lakers. We're back home next weekend for our Bryce Alaska Go Rush tournament. We'll take on Robert Morris on Friday night at 7:35 p.m. And then Rensselaer RPI, the Engineers, at 6:35 p.m. on Saturday. So make note, Friday's game is a 7:35 start and a 6:35 start on Saturday night, the 17th. We'll get a week off and then get ready for the CCHA opener. Halloween weekend, it's going to be Parents Weekend up at Fairbanks when the Ferris State Bulldogs come to town for games on October 30th and October 31st. November will continue with a home series on the 6th and 7th when the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame come to town. They'll play the 6th and 7th. We'll go to Bowling Green and Lake State, the first of 2 two-week road trips for the Alaska hockey team. We'll play at Bowling Green on the 13th and 14th, just south of Toledo, Ohio. Then trek up to Michigan's Upper Peninsula for a 2-game set against Jim Rock and the Lake Superior State Lakers. Back home, Thanksgiving weekend for Northern Michigan. On the road, December 4th and 5th for games in Kalamazoo at Western. And then we'll wrap up the first half of the year when the UNO Mavericks make their final appearance to Fairbanks as they'll be joining the WCHA come next year. We continue the second half of the year in January, the 8th and 9th, when we play at UNO in Omaha, the Quest Center. And then the 2-week road trip, the traditional 2-week road trip during semester break, will conclude at Michigan on the 15th and 16th at Yost Ice Arena. Back home on January 22nd and the 23rd for the Miami Redhawks, who played in the national title game last year. We're at Northern Michigan, January 29th and 30th. Back home to the Michigan State Spartans on February 5 and February 6th. At Ohio State, February 12th and 13th, host Lake State the 19th and 20th. And then a home and home for the Governor's Cup Series. Wolberg, you talked a little bit about him. He comes from Foremost, Alberta, played for Brooks in the AJHL, and this guy is, I think, at 5'4", or actually 5'7", kind of reminds you a little bit maybe of the build of maybe a Dean Fedorchuk. I don't know.
Yeah, he's quick on his feet. He's very smart. He can score. So, you know, what you see, the underlying theme with some of these players is they had very good junior careers, and the coaches expect them to come in and really contribute offensively, especially on the power play that really, obviously, need some adjustments for this year.
Cor Odegaard is the last freshman in the lineup tonight. He's a freshman defenseman from Red Deer, Alberta, 6'0", 187. Played for Canmore in the AJHL.
He's a player that he was in the in the Alberta League and ended up in the BC Junior League towards the end of last season. He's a player, good offensive skills, good solid player. He showed me a couple nice moves out there already. But I think, again, another player with some gifted offensive abilities.
All right, we'll take a 2-minute timeout. Bring it back for the start of the second period of play with no score between Michigan and Alaska. We're back in 2 minutes. This is Alaska Nanook Hockey on 91.5 KSUA and on KFXF Fox 7 TV.
Alaska Nanook Hockey is being brought to you by the certified public accounting firm of Wash, Kelleher & Sharp. Located at 330 Barnett Street, Suite 101 in downtown Fairbanks, Wash, Kelleher & Sharp. Proud of these student athletes who combine school and sport as they prepare for the challenges of tomorrow. From the professional corporation of Kevin Walsh, Michael Kelleher, Therese Sharp, and Lee Bradish, whose son Derek wears number 8 for the Nanooks. The certified public accounting firm of Wash, Kelleher & Sharp. Hey, Nanook hockey fans, join the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club today. The Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club is a non-profit organization that supports the Alaska Nanook hockey team. From the Welcome Back Banquet, the Blue Gold Games, Skate with the Nanooks, Friday game day luncheons, an end-of-season banquet, and even much, much more. To find out more, stop by the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club booth at the south end of the Carlson Center during all games. The Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club, the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club says go get 'em, Alaska Nanooks. Think hockey, think Sport King. Mr. Hockey is Roger McKinnon and Sport King. Located at 1323 Kalakaket, right behind the new Safeway, just off of Airport Way. From mites and peewees to the pros, Sport King offers expert skate sharpening and all the equipment you need to get you into the game. Skates, pads, helmets, and much more from all the top names you know and you trust. When it comes to hockey, all you need to know is Sport King. Their number is 479-2820, Roger McKinnon and Sport King. Murray and Chris Hawk at Woodhawk Corporation. Woodhawk Corporation is the Alaska distributor for Seton Wood Boilers. When it comes to heating your home or business, think Seton Wood Boiler. Working in series with your current heating system, the high-efficient and ultra-clean Seton Wood Boiler will save you lots of money this winter and for winters to come. The Woodhawk Corporation number is 388-7357. Heating that doesn't cost the earth, Seton Wood Boilers from Murray and Chris Hawk at Woodhawk Corporation.
And second period play just underway. Scoreless game, the Alaska Nanooks and the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan starts the second period in the power play now for 35 seconds. Here's Berlin with a quick shot. Save made by Grenham. Rebound comes out to Ben Winnett. Winnett's in the corner, side circle. He'll take it back behind the cage. Over for Mark Wahlberg, now to Louis Caparuso. It's Dustin Molly in the penalty kill along with Bryant Molly. And we've got Derek Clausen out there and Ron Myers. Berlin back at the point. 15 seconds in the Michigan power play. Ben Winnett now, top of the circle, quick shot. He gets to his teammate, right to the side of the cage, and they can't get the shot on goal. Here's Ben Winnett. Now, almost losing it there to Dustin Molly. Back to the point for Berlin. Berlin in the circle for Caparuso. Quick shot, wide of goaltender Grenham. Penalties over, and the Nanooks are back at full strength. So Michigan now 0 for 1 with the extra skater. They still put some pressure on. Grenham holds his ground between the pipes. Myers will clear it and brings it out to center ice. Here comes Dion Knelson. Dion now works into the Michigan zone, puts on the brakes. Nanooks make a line change, dumps it toward the corner as Berlin gets to it first. Berlin to Mark Wahlberg. Wahlberg now for Chad Langlis. Langlis coughed it up, but then it squirts back behind the Michigan net for Berlin. Berlin for Winnett. Winnett battling Joe Sovafort, right side of the goaltender, Hogan. Caparuso back to Berlin. We're already 90 seconds into this second period of play. No score, the Alaska Nanooks and the Michigan Wolverines. Here's Chad Langlis. In the near circle, up, bumps it to the Michigan blue line, dumps it in, Actually tried to dump it in, knocked down Nannix at center ice. Skating in, now comes Jarrett Granberg. Granberg in a race now with Berlin. Berlin and Granberg got better position. Granberg now gets it to Carlo Fanucci. Fanucci side of the far face-off circle. Brings it back toward the corner for Dustin Sather. Sather takes a bump by Berlin, and the puck is cleared by Rust. Quickly up to Brown. Brown for Carl Hagelin. Hagelin now back for Rust. A blistering shot high and just off the mark. Brown back behind the net. Joe Silva intercepts, shoots it far side, race to the corner. Scott Enders coughs it up to Carl Hagelin. Hagelin back toward the point. Michigan player went one way, and the puck squirts down the other down the length of the ice. 2.5 minutes into the second period of play. In that first period of play, Michigan attempted 20 shots. Nannix were 14. Michigan had 4 blocked by the Nannix defenders. Out front, Hagelin intercepts. Hagelin comes down with Braun. Braun skates in. Braun between the circles. Braun now brings it right point position down low to the goal line for Rust. Rust through the crease area. And into the corners picked up by Aaron Jens. Jens up for Maffei. Maffei had it kicked off his stick there by Nick Yarimchuk. Jens back into our own zone as Jens will play it now for Nick Yarimchuk. Yarimchuk battling Zarnik for it. Rust will take it away. Rust now for Robbie Zarnik. Zarnik now from a tough angle, dumps it on goal. Grenham goes from one side of the goal to the other. Watch that one squirt wide. Back behind the cage, Zarnik battling Jens. Picked up by Chris Summers. 16:40 to go, second period of play. Here's Aaron Jens battling now with number 21 out there for the Michigan Wolverines. And that is Al Trias. Back to the left point position, it's Tristan Llewellyn. Shot goes wide of Grenham, coming back to the right side. Zarnik along the boards, back behind the cage to Liebler. Liebler puts pressure on there by Dustin Molly. Correction, it's Bryant Molly. Here's Liebler out front, but again, Bryant Molly does a good job to bottle him up before he gets a shot on net. Now Liebler fires it wide of the Nanook net. Zarnik back towards Summers. Nick Yarimchuk fails to clear it out, kept in by Liebler. Liebler back for Chris Summers, and the Nannix are cleared back up the ice. Here comes Dion Knausen. He dives and slides it toward the goaltender Hogan. Now Michigan had tried to catch the Nannix in the line change. Zarnik quickly back up the ice. Zarnik back behind the goal. Nice transition here by the Nannix as they quickly made the line change, and Michigan couldn't capitalize on that opportunity. Puck cleared back up. Too far for Brandon Knausen. Chad Langlis behind his own net. Langlis now will take it from one side of the goal to the other. Quickly skates at center ice and now works into the Nannix. Well, tries to work in the Nannix zone. Bumps it in.
Quite the wheels there.
Yes, he went from coast to coast. Here's Petavello. Petavello lost it and then helped out there by Cor Odegaard, who cleared it back out. Neutralized area. Almost 5 minutes into a quickly contested second period of action. Cleared in, they'll wave off the icing. And here's Joe Silva into the corner. Silva plays it up for Brandon Knausen. Kicks it to Derek Clausen. Clausen got the honor, Scott, of being named the team captain at the banquet earlier this year. That was a great honor for him. And Kevin Petavello, the assistant captain. Couldn't go out to a couple of nicer hockey guys, student athletes.
I think they'll be good leaders.
Here's Silva. Lost it. Here's Camper with the intercept. Steve Camper back the other way. Camper with a quick wrist. Arena and goal. Save made by Grenham. Rebound goes wide on the stick side. Coming back out to Ron Myers. Myers quickly gets it a bit too far for Justin Filzen. Cleared back in Michigan. They'll make a line change. Grenham will play it back now for Cor Odegaard. 14:30 to go. Second period of play. No score. We're at Sullivan Arena in Anchorage. The Alaskan Nannix and the Michigan Wolverines. Maffei back to Camper. Camper plays it back for Maffei. On the left side now for Wahlberg. Going to dump it in. Grenham will leave it now. And they'll play it up to Chad Guillen. Guillen leads it up for Justin Filzen. Filzen on the left wing gets past Michigan's Chris Summers. He'll work it back toward the point position. Shoveled out front by Dustin Molly and then cleared before it got on net by Tristan Llewellyn. Here's Molly. Back over. Dustin to brother Bryant Molly. Just paired up here a little bit here. I don't know if that was by design since both these kids grew up in Anchorage and probably both mom and dad are here watching the game, but they weren't technically listed on the line chart as being paired up. But I would think that both coaches will make a lot of changes here, and you'll see some line juggles. They want to see what these guys can do.
That's right.
These games certainly count in the NCAA picture, but in the bigger conference play, they get a chance to experiment here because they're non-conference contests. Here comes Summers back up the ice, into the corner, takes a bump from Scott Enders. 6.5 in. Michigan back left point position. Opportunity now for Berlin. In the slot area, they can't pull the trigger. Fanucci picks up the puck with some help and clears it out. Good job there by Enders and Dustin Molly. And then Finucci was able to work it out to neutral ice area. Michigan shoots it back in, but Finucci gets it back now to Dustin Molly. Molly on the right side for Dustin Sather. He'll clear it in, and Berlin back to pick up for Michigan. Berlin back to Chris Summers, over skates and picks it back up behind his own net. Bangs it up the far boards to Carl Hagelin. 12:55 to go. Second period, no score. And 14-3 shot advantage. Here comes Michigan down the ice. Hagelin dumps it out front, loose out front. Net's knocked off the mooring, and I think it's our first whistle in like almost 7.5 minutes here in the second period of play, and only because the net knocked it off the mooring. So a break there for the Alaskan Annex. Shots are 2-zip right now for Michigan here. Almost 7.5 minutes into the second period of play.
I tell you what, Michigan obviously a team with great speed to have it every year, but I'm really noticing some pretty darn good team speed from this Nanook team, especially from some of these young guys.
Yeah, the Nanooks not too shabby themselves as they certainly, this is the second year. Dallas Ferguson has learned from some of the best. He played for Don Lucia, coached with Tavis McMillan, and he's got his systems incorporated with those two guys. And I'll tell you what, you would not even know he was a rookie coach last year, and you got to figure with the experience from his first year, he's only going to be better this year.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think as a coach, you're always growing and learning and picking up new things each year from just probably almost every game and week that you play. So certainly there's always room to learn, but I think Coach Ferguson did a great job coming in and instilling a lot of confidence to a young team, and they obviously had a very successful season.
And on top of that, he's a product of the program, so he played for this hockey team, so he knows what it takes for, travel and what it takes to recruit kids up here, kids that are going to adapt and make it here in Alaska. And
make no mistake how important that is.
Oh, it's very big. Quickly up the ice, they'll bring it to Dion Knelson. Leads it up now for Andy Toronto. Toronto skates in. Toronto with a nifty move. Quick shot high and just off the mark. High off the plexiglass. Boy, the Michigan players seem to have him tied up. Here's another shot from the point. Nanoks with some opportunities. A penalty coming up. And let's see. Michigan touches, and it's going to be a high sticking call, I believe, whistled down against Michigan. So the Nanoks are going on their third power play chance, and they had a great sustained effort. Andy Toronto came down, put on some pressure. Looked like the Michigan player had him tied up. Toronto used his strength to continue the play and take it to the net, and they had 2 or 3 great scoring chances.
Well, I tell you what, one thing I'm seeing right now, Toronto has skills. He obviously did a little toe drag move on that Michigan defenseman, but more importantly, he's going to be a player that's around that net. He scored a lot of goals. I think he's got good hands, and you're going to see some fruit of his rewards, I think, as this season goes on, of somebody with some touch around the net.
You got Yaremchuk, Toronto, Dion Knelson on the draw. Power play unit going to be completed by Joe Silva and number 5, Aaron Jen. Silva kept it in at the left point position. Hagelin takes it away, clears it out for Michigan. So the Langless gets the 2-minute minor at 7:34. And the 2-minute minor is holding is the official call. So holding on Langless, and the Nanoks are on the power play. Here they come. Dion Knelson skates in. Dion kind of muffles it right and go, and Hogan will cover up. No rebound chance given there. Dion was kind of tied up there, but still able to kind of generate a shot on goal and force the Michigan goaltender to stop play with 8 minutes in and 12 to go in period number 2, and still no score, and 1:35 left to go in the penalty against Chad Langless.
It's been a pretty entertaining hockey. Obviously no score yet, Bruce, but I think a lot of times first games are extremely sloppy, and we haven't seen that.
Here's Enders back to Odegaard. Over to Brandon Knelson, top of the near face-off circle, down to the goal line for Derek Clausen. Trying to center it. Nice block there by Berlin from Michigan. Nanoks still control it. Jarrett Granberg back toward the point. Intercepted Mark Wahlberg. 2-on-2. Short-handed comes Wahlberg down now with Berlin. Quick shot high and off the mark of Grenham. Tracked down by Cor Odegaard. Odegaard had it taken away Michigan. They'll dump it back to center ice and play a little keep away. Now Camper slides it in, and Michigan will make a line change as the Nanoks have to regroup back in their own defensive zone. They're bringing up the ice. Here comes Clausen. Clears it wide of goaltender Hogan. Llewellyn tries to clear it out. Nice job by the Nanoks, but then reclaim Michigan, and again up and down the ice. Glove save made by Scott Grenham. 45 seconds in the power play chance. And back is Joe Silva. Actually, it's Cor Odegaard, I should say. Odegaard now to Dion Knelson. Dion Knelson dumps it out front. Knocked loose by Tristan Llewellyn. Again, he'll saucer it down the ice. Grenham will play it back to Aaron Jens. 25 seconds in the power play chance, and nearly midway through this second period of play, approaching the halfway mark of the hockey game, and no score. Dion Knelson up front, picked up and cleared. Here comes Ben Winnett working one-on-one with Joe Silva. Winnett skates in, and a nice takeaway by Joe Silva as he'll clear it up the ice. Here comes Dustin Sather. Sather trying to work it now for Toronto. Sather still controls it along the near boards. Michigan clears it back out to the red stripe. Joe Suba back with it. Boy, the Natics just really, like I say, for a first game, they make it look almost easy out there. Soba was no panic time out there with Winnett, just stripped it away before the Michigan player got the shot on goal.
No,
Back to the point.
Poise for sure.
Here's Jens out front, squirts wide of Hogan. Kept alive now by Ron Myers. Myers back to the point. Here's Jens with a quick shot on goal. Hogan made the commitment. It's Filzen back toward the point. Jens will slice it back out front. Here's a chance now for Guillen. His shot's high and back behind the goal.
Good pressure.
Here's Myers out front. Quick shot. Score! Naniks. Chad Guillen. 1-0 Naniks.
Nice. That was probably the best shift of the night, Bruce. They were relentless, kept cycling. Finally, another centering pass. Chad Guillen, soft touch into the stick side low.
Well, it was set up by some hard work, Scott. You mentioned it. Some hard work by the Naniks as they just continue to crash that net, work back behind the goal, and they sustained the pressure. They found Chad Guillen wide open. Boom, past goaltender
Nice pass to find
Hogan,
him.
and it's 1-0 Alaska Naniks.
And he didn't have a whole lot to shoot at, but that just straight shot in. Nice job. Big goal, too.
10-10 time of the goal. Just past the midway mark of the hockey game. 1-0 Alaska Naniks. So Chad Guillen with his first career goal for the Alaska Naniks. Kid from Kelowna, BC here. Braun back for Michigan. Knocked down nicely by Derek Clausen. Clausen skates with it. Clausen brings it back out on the left wing center ice. So bump it to the far corner. They'll chase it down. Tristan Llewellyn now battling with Brandon Knelson. Near sides it now to Chris Summers. Summers for Zarnik. Up to Braun. The outlet pass for Liebler a bit too far to handle. And it's Bryant Molly skating right in front of his own net and goes right side and dumps it out center ice. So Chad Guillen gets credit for the goal at 10-10. Ron Myers with an assist. So Guillen from Myers, the official goal at 10-10. We'll go second intermission. Sounds good. All right, we're going to have Bruce McLeod, the commissioner from the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, guaranteed second INT. Back up the ice, though, working. There's Dustin Sapp. They're going to clear it back in. Berlon for Michigan, back to Tristan Llewellyn. 8:50 to go. Back to pick up now is Zarnik. Michigan was the only team in the CCHA, Scott, that did not play an overtime/shootout.
Right.
Not got to the shootout.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's got to be a record in itself. And, of course, the big news this year, Scott, 3 points for every game. You win a game in regulation overtime, you get 3 points. So it's a 6-point weekend on the line.
Makes sense.
If you go to the overtime shootout, then the winner gets 2 points and the loser will get at least 1. Here's Langless to the side of his netminder Hogan. Up to Sparks, given going out of Rust. Rust headed poke checked away by Toronto. Toronto leads it up now for Fanucci. They'll drop it back for Dion Knelson. Dion Knelson, side of the far face-off circle. Stick handles, but then Hagelin's able to pick it up for Michigan. Hagelin with it. Hagelin now dumps it out and picked up by Dustin Molly. Dustin back to brother Bryant. Bryant quickly too far for Nick Yaremchuk. Shot back in by Langless. That actually bounces off of Bryant Molly and never found its way to the goaltenders, Scott Grenham. 7:50 to play, period number 2. 1-0 Naniks. They won this tournament last year. Trying to see if they can do it again here. Back to pick up now is Maffey. He'll play it back to Steve Camper. Camper back to Maffey. Maffey will slow it down. Camparuso takes a little bit of a stick there from Yaremchuk. He'll play it near side for Steve Camper. 7:25 to go. Second period. Alaska 1 and Michigan nothing. Louis Camparuso poke checked away by Jens. Michigan's got to tag up, get back onside, bumping it back in Maffey and stopped there by Grenham, playing it to Aaron Jens. Jens with it. Jens will play it for Joe Sova, the kid from Berwyn, Illinois. Oh, they just missed the outlet pass to Nick Yaremchuk. Swept out and cleared by Maffey. Lead pass for Wahlberg. Onside for Camparuso. Nifty move out front. And Camper is knocked down from behind by Aaron Jens before they deliver a shot on goal. Dangerous into the corner. Picked up Nanhooks. Battling for it now is Camparuso and Justin Filzen. It's Camparuso out front. Camparuso takes it toward the goal. Grenham covers up the short side. Nothing to shoot out. Penalty coming up now against Alaska. I think the Naniks are going to take a penalty here. It looks like a tripping call, or actually a hooking call on the Naniks.
Well, it looked like a stick got caught, and the ref called that. I don't know. I didn't see it that way, but definitely they were tangled up, but it looked like an inadvertent contact. But he's going to call it, so we're going to see another Wolverine power play with 6:42 left in a very fast-paced second period, Bruce.
13-18, time of the hooking call against Aaron Jens. And this will be the second power play chance of the night for the Michigan Wolverines. And on top of that, they get the unofficial media timeout here. Chance to rest up and call their play over at the Michigan bench right now. So the Natick penalty killing unit, one of the best in the country last year, going to get tested again here tonight. Shots and go right now are 14-7 for Michigan. So the Natics are being outshot 5-4 here in the second period.
I tell you though, the first game, I'm really seeing an inordinate amount of poise by this Natick team. I've been very impressed. They're playing a very good Michigan team, but it's just their passing, just the decision making. I'm impressed so far, and really it's been a good hockey game, and that they're leading right now, 1-0.
Like I say, Red Berenson very complimentary to Dallas Ferguson and the Alaska Natics. I mean, you got to think the Michigan and Michigan States had a lot to do with the Natics of getting into the CCHA about 1991, 1992, and we got voted in as an affiliate member, took over, I think, 96 as a full-time, so they certainly had to earn the respect, and I think Red Berenson, saw something up there. I think he's also a Western Canadian guy, so I think he has a lot more in common with us Alaskans than what people might think.
Right.
Michigan on the power play. Camper on the point. They'll get it to Zarnik. Zarnik down low to the corner, trying to work it for his teammate, number 21, A.J. Trias. Back to Carl, or make that to Trias with the puck. Trias back now to Camper. Camper and Maffei. Maffei left point position, back out to Camper. Camper shovels it. Glove save made by Grenham, and he again down on the knees, but that 6'2" frame made it look relatively easy.
This is the type of game last year where the Nanook shined, Bruce. If they could play with a lead, they were able to, more often than not, go on to victory, albeit a tight game. So it's going to be interesting to see playing in the same fashion where they won a lot of games last year, if that's going to carry on with the mentality of this year's team, even though it's early.
Rust on the draw against Dion Knelson into the corner now. Bryant Molly fails to clear it out. Camper back, right point position. Lost it. Here's a takeaway. Dion Knelson, short-handed chance up the ice. Dion skates with it. Dion now trying to get a shot and go, but Camper was able to come down and knock down Dion Knelson.
Pulled down right there. No call. Ref looking right at it.
Here comes Matt Rust. Are you a homer?
I don't know.
Matt Rust now. He'll work it back to the point. Maffei can't keep it onside. 1:05 left to go in the Michigan power play chance. 1-0 Alaska on the goal scored by the newcomer Chad Gee, and Ron Myers got the assist at 10-10. But Michigan now with the extra skater for 55 seconds. Along the near boards, it's Hagelin back behind the net. Back to his teammate Brown. Brown to Hagelin. Now back for Rust. Back now for Hagelin. Shot, and boy, Grenham again cutting down the angle there. Not much to shoot at. Maffei back at the point. Back again to Chris Brown, a freshman. Final seconds are ticking down. A half minute to go as Michigan now cycles into the near circle. Hagelin down to the goal line now for Matt Rust. Rust will play it back for Carl Hagelin. Hagelin out front for Brown. Here's Berlin with a quick shot, high and off the mark. Coming back to the far boards. Langless to Berlin at the left point. Berlin back to the corner to Chris Brown. Brown battling now with Bryant Mott. Wolverines with another chance. They shoot it wide. Penalty down to 10 seconds. Here's a chance for Rust. He'll play it to Hagelin. Quick shot up the side of the cage. Loose out front. It squirts from one side to the other. Another opportunity partially blocked. Penalties over. Natics are back at full strength. Michigan still controls the play. Wolverines side of the face-off circle. Back toward the right point for Berlin. Myers getting help from Genzizo, kicking up the ice. Here comes Ron Myers up the ice. 2-on-3. Here comes Myers with a quick wrister right on going. Hogan nearly handcuffed on that one at the end of the shift, and outnumbered 2 against 3. Ron Myers with a heck of a wrister shot there that give the goaltender down there, Brian Hogan, all he can handle.
I love his game, Bruce. He works hard, good skater, beautiful assist on the first goal by the Natics. Heads up, just a great kid. He's the full package. Not big, but I'll take a team full of Ron Myers. 4:23
to go. In the second period of play, the Alaska Natics 1 and the Michigan Wolverines nothing. Nanook Hockey on 91.5 KSOA, streaming live at KSOA, and also streaming live on the Michigan Wolverine Go Blue website, being brought to you by Denali Industrial Supply, home to Milwaukee Electric Power Tools, by the law firm of Zimmerman and Wallace, by Sport King, by Lew's TV and Satellite Service, by Usabelli Coal, by Sports Medicine Fairbanks, by Murray and Chris Hawk from Woodhawk Corporation, home to Seton Wood Boilers, by the Pump House Restaurant, by the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club, by Paul and Lucy McCarthy at Alaska Sports Photography, by Alaska Nanook supporter Al Sparks, by the certified public accounting firm of Wash, Kelleher and Sharp, by Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club member Dan Graham, by Dave Mongold, Allstate Insurance, and by Alaska Nanook booster Jim Samuelson. Scott, they had the luncheon today And Rick Godkin, the head coach of Mercyhurst, was talking to his wife and says, "This is cool. We all got these company vehicles. They're giving us all this cool stuff." His wife says, "Can you bring this stuff home?" He said, "No, I can't do it."
Great.
Here's Petavello getting it back to Brandon Knelson. Knelson now to Petavello. Here's an opportunity. Quick shot on goal. Saved made by Hogan. Opportunity Nanooks.
Nanooks are definitely generating more offensive chances this period. They've had a couple of point-blank chances. They scored on their best chance. So a better period opportunistic-wise for the Nanooks.
And right now they're out shooting Michigan by a count of 6-3. So 6-3 shot advantage for the Alaska Nanooks. Here's Tristan Llewellyn up to center ice. Enders with a good job to work it back into the Michigan zone. Scott Enders now into the corner with pressure from Tristan Llewellyn. They clash along the boards. Clausen back there too, comes back near side to Chris Summers. 3.5 to go in the second period of play. Here comes Summers up the ice, brought in now by Wahlberg. 3 Nanooks players are able to strip it away, and then it's batted out to the neutralized area by Carlo Fanucci. Played with a high stick, so let's see. Face-off will come back.
I think we're going to have a penalty.
We're going to have a Michigan penalty. A Michigan penalty against Mark Wahlberg.
Checking from behind.
Checking from behind against number 25. This will be the 4th power play chance. We mentioned Michigan takes a lot of penalties. They play a physical style of hockey. So checking from behind against Mark Wahlberg at 16:39. Nanooks are on the power play. Let's go with Dion Knelson, Dustin Sather, and Andy Toronto back at the point. Sova and Jens. Nanooks win the draw. Here's Aaron Jens back now for Joe Sova. Sova, side circle to Toronto. Toronto now back behind the net for Dion Knelson. Langlis lost it to Dion Knelson. There's Dustin Sather. Sather back to the point for Jens. Jens swings it to Joe Sova. Traffic out front. He'll fake the shot. Back over to Jens. Jens now side of the far face-off circle and back out top for Sova. Sova with a quick shot. Nice block there by Luke Glendenning on the penalty kill for Michigan. Sova keeps it in for Toronto. Now Michigan able to clear it out and brought back in offsides by Joe Sova.
Nanooks working the puck pretty well in the power play once again. Got to be a tad quicker and being able to pull the trigger though, Bruce.
2:49 to go in the second period of play. 1-0 Nanooks, and the goal scored by Chad Ginn. The lone assist going to Ron Myers at 10:10, so just a little bit more than midway through the hockey game, midway through the second. As they take the early 1-0 lead. I see Dr. Keller got down here late. So Dr. Keller from Sports Medicine Fairbanks on the Nanook bench. Here's Cor Odegaard. Odegaard going to clear it back in. Power play for minute 20 now for the Alaska team. Hogan's out of his net. Intercepted now nicely by Jared Granberg. Granberg getting it back for Clausen. Back out top now for Enders. Look out, Michigan takes it away. 2-on-1 shorthanded chance with Hagelin and Rust. Hagelin now works out front, backhand shot. Grenham's able to keep it out of the goal.
Nice job. Big save there.
2-on-1 shorthanded opportunity. Michigan, the first odd man rush of the season for the opposition.
Yeah.
Back to the corner. It's Clausen. Back now for Brandon Knelson. 2:12 to play in the period and 50 seconds in the power play for the Alaska squad. And now we get a whistle, stoppage of play. Face-off will stay right side of the goaltender, Brian Hogan.
Those are always big saves, Bruce. When you have a shorthanded situation coming back the other way, you stop that. If Michigan scores there, the momentum of this game completely changes. But Granham makes a nice save. Nanooks come back the other way and get back on the power play and working in the zone. So that was a big key moment in this game.
Sather, Dion Knelson, and Toronto on the power play with Sova and Jens. Along the boards, nice job by Jens to pinch in to keep it alive. Here's Sather to Toronto. Back now for Sather. Michigan will pick up and just dump it out to center ice. Reclaim Nanooks as Sova will pick it back up. Joe Sova. I can't get my email machine running, but I'll tell you what, pop me an email at bacsports@yahoo.com. I'll read them after the hockey game and after the football game, and hopefully have it running tomorrow. But bacsports@yahoo.com, bacsports@yahoo.com. Let us know where you're watching, listening to Nanook Hockey tonight here from Anchorage. Almost a takeaway there by Trias. Joe Sova is able to play it back now for Aaron Jens. Power play down to the final 5 seconds. And the penalty is now officially over as Wahlberg's out of the box and Michigan's back to even strength hockey. Nanooks are now 0 for 5 with the extra skater. They lead it for Sather as Michigan picks it back up at center. Wahlberg skates in, poke check nicely off his stick by Aaron Jens. 65 seconds to go in the period. Here comes Robbie Zarnik. Zarnik will clear it in, gloved nicely by Joe Sova. Up now for Myers. Myers fanned on it 2 or 3 times and going to be delayed offsides. Nannix will have to tag back up. Michigan gets puck possession. I don't know, maybe the ice getting bad here at the end of the period. He took about 3 swipes at it and had trouble working it in to the scoring zone. Camparuso dumping it back in for Winnett. And here's a chance for the Nannix to bring it back out. And number 13 for Michigan, the defenseman clearing it back in. That's Lee Maffey as we're down to 30 seconds to go. They dump it out front. Picked up by Dustin Molly. Molly slides it up the ice now for Chad Guillen. Guillen skates in. Guillen dumps it back behind the net now for Ron Myers. Meyer takes a shot from Maffey but still controls the puck. He'll shoot it far side. Racing for it. Steve Camper getting to it first. Camper up to Wahlberg. The outlet pass too far for Ben Winnett, tracked down by Dustin Molly. Final 10 seconds of the period. Bruce McLeod, Commissioner of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, going to join us during our second intermission. Here's a chance for Camper to Ben Winnett, and that's the end of the second period of play. The only score delivered by the Alaska Nannix. Chad Guillen's first goal of the year from Ron Myers at 10-10. And Scott, the shots, as lopsided, it was 12-3 Michigan in the first. Michigan, according to the numbers on the clock, just 3 shots and go in the second and 6 for the Alaska Nannix. So it's 15-9 Michigan through 2 periods of play.
Yeah, very solid period for the Nannix. Obviously, they now have the lead going into the third period. So they're at where they want to be right now.
All right, we're going to take a 2-minute timeout. Bring it back to the Sully with it's 1-0 Alaska. This is Alaska Nanook Hockey on 91.5 KSUA and on KFXF Fox 7 TV.
The Pump House Restaurant. Bill and Vivian Babel from the Pump House Restaurant. They are proud to be a part of Alaska Nanook Hockey. The Pump House Restaurant is located on Chena Pump Road in Fairbanks. The Pump House Restaurant offers a full menu of favorites to include the best in seafood and steaks, a daily lunch and sandwich buffet, the world-famous Sunday brunch, and Wednesday night karaoke. A longtime favorite for locals and visitors alike, the Pump House Restaurant on Chena Pump Road in Fairbanks, where Nanook hockey fans meet after the game, the Pump House Restaurant. Can't be at the game? Check out the Nanooks online at b2livetv.com. Every home game and many road contests will be available on your computer via the B2 network. Single game or with a season ticket package also available, you'll get audio and video of Alaska Nanook hockey at b2livetv.com. That link is also available at AlaskaNanooks.com. Nanook fans worldwide, anywhere, can enjoy all the action of Alaska Nanook hockey at www.b2livetv.com. Dave Mongold is Allstate Insurance. Dave Mongold, Allstate Insurance. Good luck to Dallas Ferguson and to his Alaska Nanook hockey team. Now, last year was great, and hopefully this season even better. Dave Mongold, Allstate Insurance, is located at 230 Old Stace Highway. His phone number is 452-4260. That's 452-4260. Dave Mongold, Allstate Insurance. Home, life, auto, and more. Dave Mongold, Allstate Insurance. Dr. Carrie S. Keller is Sports Medicine Fairbanks. Dr. Keller and his staff at Sports Medicine Fairbanks spend countless hours keeping interior athletes, including the Alaska Nanook sports teams, in the game. Sports Medicine Fairbanks is located at 751 Old Ridge Highway. Their phone number, 451-6561. When it comes to sports medicine for injuries, it's Dr. Kerry S. Keller and his team of professionals at Sports Medicine Fairbanks. Good luck, Alaska Nanook hockey, from Dr. Kerry S. Keller and Sports Medicine Fairbanks.
And we're back at Sullivan Arena in between periods at 2 and 3, where the Alaska Nanook are leading the Michigan Wolverines by a score of 1-0. The lone goal scored by Chad Guillen. Ron Myers, the lone assist at 10-10 of the second period of play. Shots and go in the second period, 6 for Alaska, 2-period total of 9, and just 3 for Michigan. They've got 15 through 40 minutes of play. 3 minors like we saw in the first. Langlis took a holding call at 7:34. Jens a hook at 13:18, and then Wahlberg took a checking from behind at 16:39. Well, I don't want to say we're being stiffed again, but the commissioner from the WCHA poked his head up here, but he's not come back. We're hoping to have Bruce McLeod from the Western Collegiate Hockey Association to join us in between periods here tonight, but don't know what that's all about. We'll see what we can come up with, but it is a 1-0 hockey game through 2 periods of play. Our television sponsors tonight on KFXF, Fox 7 and TV include the Auto Service Company, Toyota, Denali State Bank, Dr. Mark Wade, and Interior Alaska Orthopedic Sports Medicine, by Gold Star Liquor, True North Federal Credit Union, by Rod Saw Shop, and your 4 area Fairbanks McDonald's restaurants. 1-0 hockey game with the Alaskan Annex. And I'll tell you what, for a first game, both teams are playing some pretty solid hockey. Really the only defensive breakdown, we had an odd man rush when we were on the penalty. Michigan came down 2-on-1 and really didn't get a great scoring chance. We were able to come back and help out goaltender Scott Grinham and keep it a 1-0 lead for the Alaskan Anarch hockey team. We're back home for the Bryce Gold Rush next weekend, as we'll be playing host to the Robert Morris Colonials and to the RPI Engineers along with the UAAC Wolves. They told us that next year North Dakota's coming here as part of the tournament. UAA and Alaska will also be in next year's tournament. And let's see, I'm trying to remember. I can remember who the fourth team was, but North Dakota was coming up for the tournament next year for the 20th edition of the Kendall Classic, one of the premier tournaments in all of college hockey. The Bryce will be in its second year coming up next weekend in Fairbanks. Dave Lorian, former Alaskan Anarch hockey coach, right to my right here, talking to Scott Rosellis as he's taking off the headsets. Natics are playing tonight's game without Cody Ryman and Ryan Houle, who are back in Fairbanks. And probably we are told that we're going to see the second goalkeeper tomorrow night, as we'll see Steve Thompson from the U.S. Hockey League join us during our second game tomorrow night. He'll be in the game with Mercyhurst. Very pleased to have Bruce McLeod, the commissioner of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, joining us here. I know we're from the CCHA and you guys are from the WCHA, but I'll tell you what, quite a tough decision you guys had with the UNO and the Bemidji State, but that's great. You were able to expand.
Yeah, it was really a long and really difficult decision for us, even getting to the decision that we were going to expand. You know what I mean? I think if you know much about the league, we're at 10 teams, have a very successful tournament at the end of the year. All the teams are making good money, have some good quality people, and had kind of, after a little bit, got 10 teams. I think we're all on the same page about, working for the quality of their product. And I think had pretty decent quality from top to bottom, like I said, and we're kind of in the routine. So everybody was, feeling pretty good about things. And really, to be honest, if they had their druthers, they would have stayed at 10, okay? So it got to be a little tough, especially with Bemidji and the success they've had, and they're building a new rink. The demise of the CHA, if they, like I said, if they had their druthers, they would have stayed at 10. But when they started to look at Bemidji and the circumstance in Division I collegiate hockey, really pulled at the heartstrings that we have to try and, help out Bemidji, which is right in the midst of our league, and kind of in the middle there. But in looking at Bemidji, they definitely didn't want to go to 11. 11's a terrible number when you're trying to schedule and things like that. It makes it very difficult. So when they decided to go to 11, they knew full well that meant we were going to have to look for a 12th team. And so we, let the word out that we were going to, we lifted our moratorium on expansion. We're going to admit Bemidji, and we're in the market looking for another team. We heard from actually several teams, but the one we ended up with in the end was UNO from.
Got to ask you, how close was Alaska Fairbanks into the equation? Let's say UNO decided they didn't want to go. Of course, Dean Blaze is there, but would we have been the second choice?
Yes, I would say so. Yeah, okay. I would say so. There was a lot of support, even in the for different reasons. Obviously, from Fairbanks, Alaska's situation. The issue for us, to be honest, was a money issue.
Yeah.
With the size of our buildings and our season ticket bases, etc. An additional home series. I'll give you in the University of Minnesota, who seats over around 11,000 people. Their building is sold out before the season starts, and an extra home series to them is probably, you don't even count concessions and parking, is probably $500,000.
You got to realize too that the coach of Minnesota used to be our coach.
Oh yeah, Donnie
Lucia.
Lucia. I know him well, absolutely. Remember that? Yeah, he was here and then up, and I knew Donnie from his high school days back in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, actually. So
you guys got some great teams. The history of the Denver Pioneers, and then, like I say, the history of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. You go to Michigan Tech. I mean, some great venues. You got the XL Center where you have the tournament there.
Yeah, you
unbelievable.
Bet. Yeah. It is that's why I said we had a great circumstance going, but it was kind of a lot of things in motion that we fully realized. We thought through it pretty darn well that, once we made one decision, it was going to lead to another decision, you know what I mean? And the whole thing with Omaha was not easy. And going back to your question about Fairbanks, You know, it was. We put a lot of numbers together, and actually, there was a lot more to it, and a lot more thought went into it, and it was a lot closer than I think anybody really realizes, to tell you the truth.
Well, of course, we're hoping more college teams will,
Yep.
when the economy gets a little bit better, and it sounds like it's turning the corner now. We get some
Hopefully.
more
You
Division
bet.
I hockey programs, and
Yep.
I don't know if we're going to see maybe a super conference. They keep talking about this Big Ten thing, and
Yep.
obviously, if we can get some more teams out west, it'll certainly help us as far as
Sure.
the travel goes. But and I'm not so certain that the Alabama-Huntsville thing's just totally dead yet. You got to figure something's going on behind the scenes.
I hope not. You know what I mean? And that was one of the things that we hoped for. That, you know, when UNO came our way, we were really hoping that, you know, that kind of opened the door a little bit for Huntsville. It didn't turn out for whatever reasons, I'm not sure, but that was one of the things that we'd hoped for too. But I also have to tell you that this summer, you know, that nothing is static. This summer, I would say the reality of a Big Ten hockey league was closer than ever. Now you know, I say that I've been, you know, around. I don't know how long I've been around this thing, to tell you the truth, but I think as a player and administrator, and then as the commissioner, probably 40, 45 years almost. So I, you know the history of the Big Ten and that rumor, but this summer it did. I'll tell you what, it was at one point that I thought it was going to happen, to tell you the truth, the 5 schools plus Notre Dame. So you never say never on those things. It didn't work out in the end, but and I was obviously real happy about it. But I would say that the thing there, Bruce, now is that if Illinois or Penn State, one of those schools, ever start hockey, if they ever get to 6, it'll be an automatic at that point. You know?
I know Penn State, I think, has got a pretty good club team going right now.
They do, and they've had a long history of very, very successful, but they don't have a rink there. You know what I mean? And you know, in this
Costs
day and
money.
age, you don't have a rink to play. It's a pretty tough situation. I don't know their Title IX situation either, which is always a tough circumstance. So, you know, it's very, very difficult in this day and age with the social climate, finances, everything else, for people to be thinking about Division I hockey, because in a lot of cases, you know, in most cases they're $1 million, and if you're not in good shape Title IX wise, you're going to have to add a women's program, and let me tell you, they're playing at full everything now, and most of their programs are you know, in the $700 to $1 million range, so mostly in the 700,000. So very, very expensive proposition.
We're getting pretty excited with the NCAA Frozen Four coming to Ford Field in Detroit. I know Tom Anastas, our commissioner, is really excited about that. So
yeah, they really are, and you know, it was kind of a bit of a long shot for everybody. They you know, it is kind of a long shot thing for us. I just noticed the other day they kind of cut down the number of ticket sales and the way they're going to configure the place to something in the neighborhood of 35,000, and it's a bit of leap of faith also, because even in the basketball circumstance, they put a floor in and had a couple of tournaments in there to begin with, but with the cost of putting ice in, you know, so they, you know, in basketball back to the thing, they did that so they could get, you know, an idea of the sight lines and everything else, and how high to raise the floor, and what that would do to lower seats. Well, we're going into this without the, you know, that opportunity, because it's so expensive to put an ice sheet down, probably at least $300,000 to put an ice sheet down. So anyhow, they can't do it, and so a bit of a leap of faith heading into Ford Field, but certainly is a unique circumstance, and looking forward to it.
And what about we got some outdoor? Is there an outdoor game coming up this year for?
We have one, you know, at
Camp Randall, isn't it?
Camp Randall,
Wisconsin.
Yeah, and playing University of Michigan. So an outdoor game in the football. It seats 78,000. Their goal is to set an outdoor record. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we'll see.
All right, Commissioner Bruce McLeod from the WCHA. Thank you for joining us here in between periods. Maybe we'll get a chance to visit with you tomorrow night.
For sure. Glad to be with you guys.
All right.
You bet. Take care.
All right, thank you. We're going to take a quick timeout, bring it back for the start of the second period of play with a score 1-0. The third period of play coming up. It's Alaska 1 and Michigan 0. This is Alaska Nanook Hockey.
USABelly Coal is proud to support Alaska Nanook Hockey. In business for almost 70 years, USABelly Coal produces approximately 1.5 million tons of coal annually. The only operational coal mine in Alaska, supplies 6 power plants in the state and exports to South America and other Pacific Rim destinations. USABelly Coal sponsors many community organizations and events through the USABelly Foundation, funding numerous scholarships and providing grants to more than 80 organizations every year. Good luck, Alaska Nanook Hockey from Usabelli Cole. He shoots, he scores. Join the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club today. The Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club is a non-profit organization that supports the Alaska Nanook hockey team. From the Welcome Back Banquet, the Blue Gold Games, Skate with Nanooks, Friday Game Day Luncheons, end-of-season banquet, and much, much more. To find out more, stop by the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club booth at the south end of the Carlson Center during all home contests. The Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club, the Alaska Nanook Face-Off Club.
Good evening, Caseway.
Okay, here we are.
Okay.
Now it's scratchy. What the hell's going on here? Jesus, Jupiter. Let me call you back.
Remaining for this call.
What the hell? Hello.
Good evening, Caseway.
Okay, here we are. Hello.
Okay.
Are we ready?
All right, I hear you. Do you hear me?
Gotcha. Back here at Sullivan Arena, some technical issues. We have 18:43 to go in the third period of play. The Alaska Nanook are leading Michigan by a score of 1-0. In the penalty box right now, we have Derek Clausen getting a 2-minute minor, so Michigan is working on the power play right now, a power play opportunity for the Michigan Wolverines. And a pretty good job so far, Scott, of killing off this penalty.
Yeah, they've done a good job. Michigan hasn't really gotten too much of a sniff in the Nanook zone.
All right, back up the ice. the ice. He just surprised the goaltender Hogan to make it 2-0 Alaska. With 16:08 to go in the third period of play. Soba pretty much took it from blue line to blue line, and two Michigan defenders were back there, and they give him an opening, and he fired it past Hogan. So Joe Soba's first of the year. So Joe Soba, unassisted goal to make it 2-0 Nanooks with 15:55 to go in the third period of play. Here's Brandon Knelson. Langless tries to keep it alive, bumped out by Derek Clausen. Clausen gives it over to Brandon Knelson. Brandon had it poke checked away by Langless. Louis Caparuso back now for Chad Langless. Langless now for Winnett. Winnett now driving it back for Langless. Langless in the far circle. Quick shot out front. Brandon Knelson fails to clear it out. Back to the point. It's Langless into the corner goal line now for Winnett. Winnett for Louis Caparuso. Pressure now from Dustin Molly. Winnett battling Dustin Molly. Molly picks it up. He'll lead it now to Brandon Knelson as the Nanooks will clear it from their own zone. 15:15 to go in the third period of play. The Alaska Nanooks 2 and the Michigan Wolverines nothing. Here comes Langless up to the blue line. Bounces off the skate of Matt Russ. Justin Filzen in. Filzen nearly took it away. It's cleared out center and shot back in by Aaron Jens. 5 minutes down in the third. The Alaska Nanooks leading it by a score of 2-0 on goals off the sticks of Chad Guillen and Joe Soba unassisted here in the third. Wolverines, Hagelin will bring it up to the Michigan blue line at right wing. He'll take it to center. Goes left side now for Maffei. Maffei with a quick shot. And boy, Grenham. He makes the catch, kind of looked behind him, but he's got it in the glove. That one was a screamer that was sailing up, heading for just under the crossbar, and Grenham with a big, big save. Not exactly certain he had that one all the way.
Well, probably a sense of urgency for the Wolverines right now. There's a lot of time left with 14:43 left in this third period, but they're down 2 goals, and they know this Alaska team's been a pretty good defensive team. And so far, you're seeing some pretty good glimpses of a very solid goaltending in Scott Grenham.
One shot on goal, and that's the one the Nanooks get the goal off the stick of Joe Soba, the kid from Berwyn, Illinois. At 3:52 unassisted, Nanooks are being outshot 3-1 here in the third, 18-10 in the contest. And it's a 2-0 lead for the Alaska Nanooks. Michigan will get UAA tomorrow night in the late contest. We'll be on the air at 3:45 radio, 4 o'clock for TV, as we'll take on the Mercyhurst Lakers, a team we beat 5-0 last year.
And I think you'll probably see a few new faces in the lineup tomorrow night for the Nanooks, as the coaches, once again, they want to see what some of these kids can do. One of the defensemen that I don't know why is not in the lineup tonight, freshman Justin Daig. He's going to be a good one, and all I've heard is quarterback of the power play type, but he's not playing tonight, so I suspect we'll probably see him tomorrow night.
I'm sure it's a numbers game. Here's Zarnik with an opportunity, shot just wide. It's a numbers game, only so many bodies can play. We will see Steve Thompson in goal tomorrow night, no matter what happens here tonight. His coach said that Thompson, the kid who played for Sioux City in the U.S. Hockey League, an Anchorage native, he is going to be in goal tomorrow night for the Alaska Nanooks. I kind of teased him that movie American Pie. He kind of looks like Steve Stifler, if you can believe that. Great. When he smiles, he looks just like him.
Sure,
he's a character.
To hear that.
I'm sure his parents love that too, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Here's an opportunity now for Dion Knelson. He comes down with Chad Guillen. Dion Knelson now works out front. Dion Knelson with a quick shot. Good defensive play by Steve Camper to line him in front of the shot and the goaltender. Here's Jens. Jens with it. Quick shot. Save made by Hogan. Picked up now by Maffei. Up to Zarnik. Michigan clears. Liebler's got it at center. Lead pass a bit too far now for Trias. Picked up by Aaron Jens. Quickly up now to Toronto. They try to catch Michigan in the line change. They'll dump it in. Wolverines back to pick it up, and Chris Summers. 13:35 to go in the third period of play. The Alaska Nanooks 2, Michigan Wolverines nothing. Here's a chance for Caparuso to clear it. He's at the Michigan blue line and then stripped away by Jarek Granberg, and then reclaimed though by Ben Winnett. Winnett's passed too far. Soba dumps it out in neutral ice area. Nanooks over skate. Caparuso clears it back in, but the Nanooks control the puck as Soba getting it back now for Enders. Enders will bring it up the ice. Enders onside for Fanucci. Puck picked up, cleared up, and ripped down the ice. And this is going to be an icing call against Michigan with 13:05 to go in the third, and the Nanooks leading by a score of 2-0. 44 meetings between the Nanooks and the Wolverines. Michigan leads the all-time series 37-7.
Well, they probably won the first 30 of them, just
yeah.
about. So it's Nanoks in the last several years have had a few wins here and there, but Michigan's a premier program and tough team to beat.
Play back into the zone now. It's going to be cleared in, but then brought back out by Dustin Molly between the blue lines to work it, and brought in nicely by Glenn Denning. Glenn Denning for Michigan. Works now with Louis Caparuso. Caparuso's got it. Michigan makes a few line adjustments. Llewellyn back at the point. Quick shot. Bounces out front. Never found its way to Grenham, the goalkeeper for Alaska. Cleared by Sather. Shot back in by Tristan Llewellyn and knocked down at center by Jared Granberg. Granberg back into Sather. Sather behind the goal. Tried to work it for Carlo Finucci. And the puck is picked up by Luke Dendenning. Luke, as he brought it in, and it was shot out to center and brought back in by the Nanoks. Luke Glendenning dumped it out center. Nanoks shot it back in. That's a tough one to say. Back up the ice, Michigan. Chris Summers. Summers trying to work it for Lynch. Jens will kick it loose now back to the near side for Joe Suba. 8 minutes into the third now, 2-0 Alaska. Cleared back in by Clausen. Summers up the ice for Glendenning. He'll skate down to the bench. And Jens has got it. Jens quickly for Brandon Knausen. Petavello's going to rip it back behind the goal. Hogan will stop it and let Berlon get to it. Berlon now for Chris Brown. He'll play it back to Lynch. Now back behind the Michigan net for Berlon. Berlon skates with it. We have 11:40 to go, third period. 2-0 Alaska Nanoks. 18-11 shots and goal, Michigan. Summers shoots it in. They'll chase it down left-hand side of Grenham. Cleared back up and out. Here comes Guion. Nanoks with a chance for maybe a 3-on-2 to turn into a 4-on-3. Here comes Ron Myers. Myers side of the circle. Muffled down by Berlon. Myers gets the puck back behind the goal for Guion, who takes a clip on Berlon. Shoots far side to number 10, Chris Brown. Brown shoots it up. They'll wave off the icing. Michigan makes a line change. Picked up nicely and brought up the ice. Steered in. Maffey's got the puck. Maffey will work with it. Maffey behind his own net to the Michigan blue line. Maffey now will left side it. Knocked down by Myers and cleared back into the Michigan, tried to clear it back into the Michigan zone. Wolverines to Hagelin. Drops it back now for Rust. Rust back out front now for Brown. He's knocked off his skates. They can't get a shot on goal as the Nanoks are clearing up the ice. Hogan quickly brings it up to Camper. Drills it wide of goaltender Grenham. Michigan picking up the pace at 10 here as we approach the halfway mark of the third period of play. Nanoks leading by a score of 2-0. Here's a chance for Nick Yaremchuk back now for Andy Toronto. Toronto battling Maffey, getting help now for Yaremchuk. He'll take a shot from Rust. All the action left side of the goaltender Hogan for Michigan. Nanoks again grinding with the big Michigan squad. Hagelin kicks it loose. He'll play it back to Rust. Rust up the ice. Rust will work with it. Now Dion Knausen. Here comes a chance for Yaremchuk. Yaremchuk's going to shoot it in. A chance now for Maffey to pick it up. Nanoks make a line change. We'll get some fresh bodies out there in the form of Joe Silva and Dustin Molly, Scott Enders, Carlo Finucci, and Jared Granberg. Wolverines keep it onside. Work it in. They've got it along the far face-off circle. Finucci's able to kick it loose and dump it out neutralized area. Puck goes up in the air. Tristan Llewellyn in front of the player bench area, out at center, and brought back in now. Here's a chance for Trias. Cleared back out. Llewellyn kept it onside, right on goal, and a glove save made by Scott Grenham. As Grenham comes up with a big glove save to keep it a 2-0 hockey game with 9:38 to go in the third.
Looked kind of like a harmless shot. Michigan was trying to keep the puck from going back out into the neutral zone, and just a quick little wrist shot, but it went through several people. So Grenham might have had trouble picking that up, and he made the glove save, but
all right, 2 goals in the game. Chad Guion from Ron Myers at 10-10 of the second, and then Joe Silva unassisted as he took it from his own zone over center ice just inside the blue stripe. And with 2 Michigan defenders down there, they kind of left an opening there. He found it, and Silva drilled it past goaltender Hogan at 3:52 of the third to make it a 2-0 hockey game.
Well, that was a heck of a shot by Silva, but you've got to believe that that's one Hogan might want to have come back when basically you give up a slap shot, albeit a bullet, from just inside the blue line with no screens in front of you. That's one probably the goalie needs to make the save. We'll take it though, and it was a heck of a shot by Silva, taking nothing away from the shot.
Ken, we're on the air. It's at 3:45 for radio tomorrow, 4 o'clock for TV with the Alaska Nanoks taking on the Mercyhurst Lakers. Later tonight, it's Mercyhurst and UAA. And then we'll complete play tomorrow. The team back on the red eye tomorrow night, back to Fairbanks Saturday night / Sunday morning. And then we'll get ready for a Bryce Alaska Go Rush next weekend with RPI, Robert Morris, UAA, and your Alaska Nanoks. Banquet on Thursday night over at the Westmark Hotel. Should be a lot of fun next weekend. Here's Ben Winnett back in his own zone to pick it up back behind the Michigan net. Winnett now will go left side and bring it up a bit too far for Mark Wahlberg, and tracking it down is Bryant Molly. Molly now for Clausen. Clausen clears it out center. Battle for it now between the neutral ice area as Llewellyn gets it back for Wahlberg. Now back for Caparuso. Intercepted by Dustin Molly. Molly now for his teammate Kevin Pettivello. Dumps it in. 9 minutes to go. 9 minutes to go in the third period of play. The Alaskan Annex 2 and the Michigan Wolverines nothing. Glad to have you tuned into our simulcast and the Michigan folks on the KSUA radio feed tonight here at Sullivan Arena in Anchorage. Here comes Lou Ellen. His shot blocked down nicely. Another opportunity. Grenham makes the save. Short rebound is cleared nicely by Scott Enders.
Very cool customer.
Up the ice. Here comes Jared Granberg up the ice, and then Granberg is hauled down. Before he got the shot on goal, he was almost able to get past that Michigan defense all the way to the goal, but then couldn't get the shot on goal. Here's Langless. Chad Langless. Up to Brown. To Rust, and Michigan having trouble clearing it out of their own zone. They finally will do so. Tristan Llewellyn up now to Brown. Brown now works on, keeps on side. 4 Nanooks are back there, and Brown was able to deliver it toward the goal, but picked up by Enders. Near boards Rust. Rust has got it. Matt Rust now for Chris Brown. Brown back behind the net, tied up by Justin Filson. Brown now back behind the goal. Nice takeaway by Scott Enders. Enders up and out to center ice.
Nice poise by the Nanooks, Bruce. They're really playing well right now.
Brandon Berlin leads it up now for Carl Hagelin. Hagelin with a quick shot, and boy, the big frame there. Easy save for Scott Grenham at 6'2" and about 185 pounds strong, up 20 from last year. He didn't give much to shoot at. Covered up the angle, and nothing to shoot at except that Alaska insignia on the front of the uniform.
He's really held his ground well tonight, Bruce. Not giving the Wolverines much a shootout. No rebounds. It's almost like, hate to say it, but it's like Chad Johnson's in that. Scott Grenham's his own man, but they're very similar in styles and very similar in the poise that they portray, too, to the other teammates.
Here's Michigan working it. Still deep in the Alaskan Annex defensive zone. It is Glenn Denning back behind the net now for his teammate Sparks. Intercepted by Jens. Jens up now for Nick Yarimchuk. Yarimchuk gets it up to Toronto. 2-on-2 break now with an Annex and Dion Knelson. Dion skates with it. Dion now with a circle. His shot goes back behind the net. Toronto over skates. Picked up now by Michigan's Lynch. Number 11 will play it back for Glenn Denning. Luke Glenn Denning back behind the Michigan cage. Back over now to Maffey. Maffey up to center ice. Knocked down by Dustin Molly. We're down to 7:15 to go in the third. 2-0 Alaskan Annex. Here's a chance for Maffey. Maffey at his own blue line. Up to Sparks. Sparks will deliver it now. Intercepted by Dion Knelson. Dion coming down 1 against 4. Not much of a chance there as Michigan shoots it back out to center. Cleared back in by Bryant Molly. And Steve Kemper back behind his own goal. 6:55 to go in the third. Alaska 2, Michigan nothing. Up to Steve Kemper. Gets it for Liebler. Liebler now dropping it back now for his teammate Zarnik. And boy, they put a shot on going for the second time. Little uncertainty there by the goaltender, Scott Grenham. He thinks he's got it, but he kind of looks behind him just to make sure. But it stays out of the goal line, and a face-off coming upside of goaltender Scott Grenham, the second-year goaltender from Addison, Ontario.
6:45 left in this 2-0 Nanook lead in the third period here at Sullivan Arena.
So it will be number 21, A.J. Trias to take the draw. And the puck is still going to be worked in by Michigan's Liebler at the right point. He'll take it back behind the goal line, where Zarnik got it back for Trias. Trias looking in the slot area. Boy, a nice knockdown there by Aaron Jens. Michigan still with it. Quick shot steered wide by Grenham. Opportunity by Trias that time from just inside that near face-off circle. Bumps all the way back to the Michigan blue line. Not far enough for an icing call. Brandon Berlin behind his own cage with 6:15 to go in the third. 2-0 Alaskan Annex. Here's Zarnik on the right wing. He'll take it blue line to center. The blue line works in the Nanook zone. Bumped off the play there by Scott Enders, but kept in by Liebler. Liebler with a quick wrister goes wide of Grenham, coming back to the near half boards where Llewellyn's got it. Jens will take it away for the Nanooks. He'll play it far side now for his partner Scott Enders. Enders quickly gets it for Jarrett Granberg, and he'll successfully clear the defensive zone. Now he'll backhand it in, and this time we will get an icing call with 5:47 whistle down against the Alaskan Nanooks. So 2-0. Goals by Chad Guillen and Joe Silva. Guillen's in the second period of play at about the midway mark, and then Joe Silva at 3:52. Not a penalty called here in the third. The Nanoks are 0 for 4 in the power play, and Michigan is 0 for 3. So here we go. Actually, I think we might have missed a penalty in that third, I should say. I think Michigan did have a fourth power play chance, so I think we get 0 for 4 for each team unofficially.
They did.
During our technical issues, there's Sather with it. Sather dumps it out center. Tristan Llewellyn back now for the captain, Chris Summers. Caparuso centering pass doesn't connect, where it's tracked down by Dustin Sather. Falls down, back up. Look out, pinching in is Ben Winnett from a tough angle through the crease area traffic, and Grenham stirs that one wide. Llewellyn side circle out in the slot area. Still picking up now is the Michigan team. They fan on it. Winnett was out front. And again, the Nanoks will bump it up, and let's see, will it be fired up for an icing call? No, they wave it off with 5 minutes and 10 seconds to go in regulation time. The Alaska Nanoks 2 and the Michigan Wolverines nothing. Here's Dustin Molly. Back over to Chad Guillen. Michigan tracks it down in the midst of a line change at center ice. It's Maffei. Right sides it now. Too far for Carl Hagelin, and picked up now by Bryant Molly. Bryant Molly back now to brother Dustin. Dustin takes a bump there by Brown, but gets bailed out there by Guillen, who clears it, but not quite out of the zone. Now it does bump out to Ron Myers on the left wing. Myers comes down the ice. He's knocked off the play by Steve Camper. Hagelin behind the net, now to Maffei. We're down to 4.5 minutes to go in the third period. 2-0 Alaska Nanoks. Here's Odegaard. Too far from Myers. Taken away, Dion Knelson. 3-on-2 Nanoks. Knelson with a muffling shot that goes just wide. A Michigan defender may have gotten a piece of that one. But a 3-on-2 chance. Alaska didn't quite generate the high-scoring chance, but still frustrating Michigan. As the Nanoks are catching the bounces here, they've really turned it on, Scott, since about that second half of the period.
They've looked sharp, Bruce.
Bouncing puck, and boy, Grenham was able to hold that one. That kind of bounced from the goal line area to his right, and he did a good job of holding out with 4:10 to go.
I tell you, freshman Chad Guillen's got some wheels. He's really impressed me with his speed.
He is doing great. So we get an official timeout. We'll keep it right here with 4:10 to go. Shots are 23-11. So Nanoks with just 2 shots and go, and they're getting outshot 8-2 now in the third. So I guess it's the quantity, the quality, not the quantity of shots you take here. And right now the Nanoks with a 2 spot on the scoreboard.
Well, it's not like Michigan's just been storming the net. They've had some perimeter shots. A couple chances where Grenham's just made solid saves, but Grenham, very impressive. He hasn't been overly tested, and that's saying something about the Nanook defense. When you're playing Michigan and you're not overly tested, certainly they've had some chances, but Grenham's just looked smooth, but really the Nanook defense, once again, is looks like they're picking up where they left off last year, Bruce. Not a lot of odd man rushes, doing a good job of clearing any rebounds, so it's just, so far anyway, 4:10 left in this game. Nanoks have played a pretty darn good first game of the year.
Let's see what Michigan does. They're going to certainly, you know, this team is built to win championships. So let's see what they do here. Granted, it's the first game of the year, but they didn't come up to Alaska not to give it their best. And it's going to be an interesting 4 minutes and 10 seconds down the stretch. I would have to say even some of the UAA fans might be rooting on the Nanoks right now. There's a high muffler that goes just over the Grenham's glove and behind the goal. Michigan putting on the pressure. Glenn Denning back to the point now for Brandon Berlon. Back for Luke Glenn Denning. Takes a pop there by Brandon Knelson. Back toward the point and cleared by the Nanoks. Here's Kevin Petavello to Derek Clausen. They'll shoot it into the corner. Petavello back behind the net. Far sides it now for Brandon Knelson. Brandon Knelson back left point and jumps over the sticks and back all the way down to our zone, where it's picked up by Aaron Jens. Jens back to Scott Enders. Jens didn't play in the SAIT game last weekend, playing here tonight. Nanoks will bump it down the ice, and they're going to call an icing call against the Nanoks. That's kind of an interesting call there.
Poor call.
Yeah.
I mean, the Michigan player easily could have had that. I don't know how they can blow that whistle there.
Brian Meisner, the assistant coach on the bench, not too happy about that one. The faceoff will come back left side of Scott Grenham. Just a reminder, Nanook hockey tonight, 91.5 KSUA College, and on KFXF, Fox 17 Fairbanks, KFXF, Fox 7 Fairbanks. Bruce Check, Scott Rosellis in the simulcast of Nanook hockey tonight from Anchorage. Shot blocked down. Dion Knelson trying to pick it up. Trying to clear it out. They'll bat it, and they kept it in Michigan, but it's picked up by Aaron Jens. Jens quickly up the ice. Leads it now for Nick Yaremchuk. Yaremchuk with a shot on goal. Nearly handcuffed Hogan. Hogan steers it out of the goal. Back behind the net. Here's Yaremchuk once again. Yaremchuk looking for some help. Nanook's in a little bit of a line change now. Here's Yaremchuk. Just doing a great job of stick handling as we're down to 3 minutes to go in regulation time. Dion Knelson side circle. Dion works with it. Dion with help now from Andy Toronto. Toronto out front. Hogan tried to freeze the puck to the left side of his goal. Could not do so. But now it's picked up by Mark Wahlberg. And we got Dion Knelson tripped up, and the Nanooks are going to go on the power play.
Good timing with 2:44 left, because you got to figure that Michigan was going to be looking to pull their goaltender sometime here in the next minute and a half. And who knows, so that'll change their strategy. I mean, at this point, they may pull out all the stops. They got nothing to lose, and it's early in the year. So I wouldn't be shocked at some point if Michigan still maybe tries to pull their goaltender and playing with a lot of confidence with the skill set that they do have, but we'll see how that develops.
First period of the third period, Tristan Llewellyn goes up at 17-16 with a 2-minute minor. Nanooks to go with the power play unit of Derek Clausen, Jarrett Granberg, and Brandon Knelson. Defensively, Scott Enders teamed up with Joe Sova, who's got one of the 2 goals for the Alaska Nanooks. Michigan's able to bump it back out to the neutralized area. So the 2-minute minor interference is whistled on against Tristan Llewellyn. Nanooks back in their own zone. Sova plays it back now to Scott Enders. Enders up and out to neutralize area.
Michigan very aggressive on this penalty kill. They're desperate right now.
Here comes Matt Rust working in. Short-handed chance. Rust now back behind the net, trying to dump it out front for Hagelin. Nanooks take it away and clear it now with Joe Sova. Sova on the stick, though, of Matt Rust. Now Rust is checked from behind. Hagelin coughs it up now to Joe Sova. Sova bangs it off the far boards, trying to get it for Jarrett Granberg. Rust now takes it away. Here's a chance now for Scott Enders. Enders skates in. We had a little chippy play right in front of the player bench area. I'm not so certain we're not going to see some penalties coming up here. I don't think we had too many men on the ice, but what are we going to see here? And this is where our linesman's going to come over. Well, let's see. What are they going to call? Yes, there are going to be some penalties whistled out. Well, no.
No.
Might have been just offsides.
I think so.
Wow. So with 2:02 to go, 2-0 Alaska. And here comes Dustin Sather. Sather is going to bump it back in. Back into the corners, Toronto. Andy Toronto. Getting it back for Sather now to Dion Knelson. Dion Knelson with the puck. Back out top for Joe Sova. Oh, trying to redirect it there was Toronto. Here's a chance for Sather to kick it loose. We're down to 1:35 to go in the hockey game. The Alaska Nanooks 2 and Michigan nothing, and there's still 50 seconds left to go in the penalty to Tristan Llewellyn. Jens has got it. Jens will play it up and dump it out center for Sather. More time ticks down. Here's a chance for Brandon Knelson. Brandon with a connector shot. He hit the goal post.
Whoa.
He hit the right post. Back out top for Jens. Jens with a shot, trying to redirect with Sather out front. It's all Nanooks right now with 65 seconds in the game clock. 2-0 Alaska. Here's a chance for Jens. Trying to take it away from Zarnik, and they'll bump it out center ice. 15 seconds still to go in the power play chance. Here's an opportunity now for Clausen. A quick shot on goal and a glove save made by Hogan, the netminder. 53.6 seconds on the clock and 10 seconds still to go in the power play, unofficially number 5 for Alaska.
A nice move by Knelson moments ago. A nice shot, beats Hogan cleanly, but hits the goalie's best friend, the pipe, and bounces straight out.
Face-off will be left side of goaltender Hogan, trailing 2-0. You wonder if Michigan will call the timeout. But they've got to go. Well, first of all, they got to win the face-off, and then they got to be able to get the extra skater off. So,
well,
and they're also short-handed. So,
well, for 10 seconds, then they'll try to pull him, I'm sure, if they can gain possession.
Rust on the draw is able to bring it up the ice. He'll get it to Louis Camparuso. Now, Bryant Molly clears it to the corner. He and Camparuso collide. And now the penalty's over, so Michigan's back at full strength. Llewellyn skates quickly to the Michigan bench, and now they're going to pull the goaltender Hogan. So Hogan's out, 6 skaters out now for Michigan. Hogan taking a long time to get to that bench. We're down to 30 seconds in the game clock. So 6 skaters, Michigan. Nanooks leading 2-0, and all the action right side of the Nanook goalkeeper, Scott Grenham. Here's a chance for Rust out front. Can't pull the trigger. And a backhand chance. And now the puck squirts down toward the empty net. And it's taken away by Chris Summers at the last minute. Now Myers has it for the Nanooks. He and Penavello are back behind the net. Penavello now has an opportunity. Penavello back for Sova. He fans on the shot. And Michigan comes up now for the final 10 seconds. Camparuso skates in. Camparuso upended. Hagelin out front. There's a quick shot wide of Grenham. Nanooks win it by a final score of 2-0. And guess what? Another shutout for Scott Grenham.
Could you have scripted a better start for his sophomore season? I think the team's got to feel pretty good about what they have in Scott Grenham, and this was a great team effort. A great statement game early in the season, Bruce, but what confidence for this team to beat Michigan right out of the bat in the tournament.
2-0. Natick's Rod shot 23-13 unofficially in the game. They went 0 for 5 in the power play, but they got goals from Chad Guillen and Joe Silva and win it by a score of 2-0. We'll take a 2-minute timeout and back to wrap things up. Final score, the Alaska Natics 2 and Michigan nothing. This is Alaska Natick Hockey on 91.5 KSUA.
He shoots, he scores. Join the Alaska Natick Face-Off Club today. The Alaska Natick Face-Off Club is a non-profit organization that supports the Alaska Natick hockey team. From the Welcome Back Banquet, the Blue Gold Games, Skate with Natics, Friday Game Day Luncheons, end-of-season banquet, and much, much more. To find out more, stop by the Alaska Natick Face-Off Club booth at the south end of the Carlson Center during all home contests. The Alaska Natick Face-Off Club, the Alaska Natick Face-Off Club. Lou's TV and Satellite Service is home to Dish and Direct TV. Lou's TV and Satellite Service, offering the latest technology and satellite systems, sports packages to include the NHL and the NFL, and the most up-to-date HD high-definition programming available in the state of Alaska, and HughesNet Internet service, too. Lou's TV and Satellite Service, where service is their motto. Their phone number is 488-DISH. Lou and Adeline Gaudreau at Lou's TV and Satellite Service in North Pole, Alaska. Al Sparks. Alaska Natick hockey supporter Al Sparks is proud to help support today's broadcast of Alaska Natick hockey. When it comes to Natick hockey, not too many fans are more blue and gold than this guy. Al has traveled with the team, been to just about every arena, and will be the first one in line to get tickets when the Alaska team earns a spot at the NCAA National Tournament. Al Sparks wishing the best to the players, the coaches, the fans, and the support staff who are connected to Alaska Natick hockey. Al Sparks. Dan Graham from Monroe, Iowa is